including a flag with a Nazi symbol on it. And there were no reported injuries to any Secret Service or White House personnel.
Well, CBS's Jim Krasula tells us there's new action in one state to target transgender people.
Republican Montana Governor Greg Gianforte has signed a bill that defines the word sex in state law as only male or female. Kansas and Tennessee have similar laws. Opponents say such laws would block transgender residents from changing the sex on their birth certificates or driver's licenses to match their identity.
Overseas, Russia says its forces have put down a cross-border raid from Ukraine, alleging more than 70 attackers were killed. The BBC's James Landale.
These men crossed the border and attempted to seize 2 or 3 villages. There are reports they had armored vehicles with them, and this morning the local Russian governor has said that they even had drones which air defenses have been shot down.
Kyiv calls it an uprising by Russian partisans who oppose Vladimir Putin. The Dow is down 4. This is CBS News.
Find your next great hire with Indeed. Their hiring platform makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates all in the same place. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Looking for more local programming? Check out our website, civicmedia.us, to see our entire lineup.
For Civic Media, I'm Jane Matnair. Here's what you need to know. U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin and a bipartisan group of lawmakers have introduced the Farmers First Act of 2023, which expands access to mental health services for farming communities. The measure reauthorizes a nationwide program connecting farmers, ranchers, and agricultural workers with mental health assistance programs and resources. It also increases available funding for the network to $15 million per fiscal year through 2028. The suicide rate for farmers is 3.5 times higher than the general population. After 86 years, the final graduates of Cardinal Stritch University received their diplomas on Sunday. The school announced in April it was closing because of financial difficulties. Enrollment at the school dropped from 5,800 students in fall of 2010 to less than 1,500 in the fall of 2021. I'm Jane Matnair. This is Civic Media News.
Let Mike Ravello's Camera Center help you start your family photo album by turning your digital images into gorgeous 4x6-inch prints on 2 for Tuesday. Buy 1 print, get the second free, up to 100 prints. In-store only at 181st and Blue Mound.
If you're a motorist of the 4-wheel variety, please watch out for those of us in Wisconsin who do their traveling on 2 wheels. Adjust your mirrors to reduce your blind spots. Allow motorcyclists a full lane width. Use your turn signal when merging or changing lanes, and allow more following distance between you and the motorcycle. Motorists and motorcyclists can work together to achieve 0 preventable deaths on Wisconsin roads. 0 in Wisconsin. Together we can save lives. Learn more at zeroinwisconsin.gov.
Sponsored by Wisconsin DOT.
This is the story of a very special woman. Just a few knew about her superpowers. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
You know him as the nose tackle for the green and gold, 1993 to 1999, and again 2001 to 2003. 125 games, 292 tackles, 7 sacks, and a Super Bowl ring. But there's more to life than stats, and there's more to life than football. You're about to find
It's great to be here to speak directly to the woke mob.
The liberals have basically made up this whole agenda that guacamole is made of avocados. It's not the truth.
Ticked off, tee off. This is it.
Scubbity boo boo. Scubbity doo.
Moving Wisconsin forward, one joke at a time. This is Kristen Bry with As Goes Wisconsin.
Yada, yada, yada.
Hello, Wisconsin!
Would you try Ozempic? Simple question. 844-967-2789. I guess a little clarity. Would you try Ozempic if you do not have diabetes? Would you try it for one of the side effects that it's anecdotally having, but has not yet been approved for those purposes by the FDA? 844-96-PARTY. Because I ask, because I think so far Ozempic has been making waves as far as being a weight loss drug, and it's created shortages for people who actually do need it for diabetes.
Yep.
But seemingly, I mean, like celebrities are taking it. For a little while, there still might be the hashtag Ozempic on TikTok has like 300 million views or something ridiculous. And so, but I ask this not just because of the apparent side effects of Ozempic on weight loss, but now there is anecdotal stories and cases where some patients are noticing that the diabetes drug has helped them kick addictive habits.
Like drinking?
Like drinking, and I think that's probably tied to why it's also good for, or what makes it a weight loss drug. But basically, so, this is something that stirred up a lot of drama. It's won praise for helping people lose weight, but some patients are now saying it quelled their appetite for drinking, smoking, and other addictive habits. And this is from reporting that came out in the last week by The Atlantic. And so it's the latest outlet to report that some people describe simply not getting the same thrill from activities they used to crave after starting semaglutide, yes, which is the generic name of Ozempic and its ilk. So one patient told Insider in October he went from habitually drinking 8 to 10 beers at social gatherings. Sounds like a guy from Wisconsin. Pretty much. And to losing interest in alcohol beyond a couple drinks. And so I saw this headline this morning and I was curious as far as people's openness to trying this drug, whether it's for weight loss, whether it's for an addiction that you have. And I'm interested to hear from you. Would you try this? 844-967-2789. That's 844-96-PARTY. Jane, would you try this?
I have been through.
Do you feel like you need this for either of these side effects and like that would help you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Trust me, I could lay off on the buttery Chardonnay. That would not hurt me. And don't even get me started about smoking. That's a whole other issue.
Yeah.
But I am hesitant only because this all seems so very new and recent. And in my history in this industry, I was tapped over the years to be the spokesperson for various weight loss programs.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes. Weight loss things. And there was one in the 80s that was very popular. Weight Loss Clinic is what it was called.
Okay.
And they put me on 500 calories a day.
Oh, my God.
For 3 months. And I lost 30 pounds because that's
you were
pretty much
starving.
starvation.
You were starving yourself.
That's pretty much starvation. And that was great. I lost 30 pounds in 3 months. And then in 6 months, I gained back 40 pounds. So I'm really curious with people who are losing weight with Ozempic, what happens when you stop?
Yeah. I mean,
or do you have to take this for the rest of your life in order to maintain this?
Yeah.
And even for the other, the drinking and stuff, once you stop, do you just go back to those old habits and I'm going to drink a case of wine?
That's both of those are really good points. And so as far as I have not done a ton of research on Ozempic, I'm going to be totally honest, mostly because I don't feel like I need it. I would say before I got pregnant, I may have drank I may have sounded a little like that other guy who was like, "Oh, it's not hard to throw back 8 to 10 drinks at a social gathering," but it's actually been pretty easy since I've gotten pregnant to not drink. But I certainly don't need to lose weight, and so there's not really a case study for me, but like I think it's interesting as far as addiction goes that if it's killing some kind of dopamine receptor to these
Right.
things and these vices, because basically if they say it works is scientists say drugs similar to semaglutide could be rewiring the reward pathways in the brain, potentially reducing the dopamine release from consuming addictive substances. In a recent study, researchers found that reward centers in the brain of people with alcohol use disorder who took a similar drug lit up less on fMRI scans when they saw pictures of alcohol. Some of those researchers previously received funding from the company that makes Ozempic, so just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
But and so so if it's rewiring your brain for, because they say it takes 30 days to kill a habit.
Right.
Granted, an addiction is different than a habit, but if you can take it for a year and rewire your brain, I don't know. Does it just kind of work out as far as your habits and the Pavlov's dog of like 5 p.m., time for a drink, time for a cigarette, like the things that we do during our day that signal
those
it's time
triggers.
time to eat something as far as this time of day. I don't know. So I'm so interested to hear from you as far as if this is, despite how new it is, despite it not necessarily being approved yet for certain use cases, would you take this? 844-967-2789.
844-96-PARTY. We have Debbie Bry checking in from Wisconsin Rapids. Hey, Deb, what do you think about this?
Hello. I want to tell Kristen, her mama has been thinking about this.
Really?
And I really haven't. Yes, I have. But I do have reservations, and what Jane just voiced is one of the things that I have heard. What I've heard is it's effective in weight loss, so much so that, it's really effective for weight loss. But once one stops, the weight can come right back on. What you just talked about, though, I find real interesting about changing, the pathways in your brain. But then you have to stay on it for a long time. The other thing that I have been concerned about is finding out how much it costs, because I've heard it's expensive and not covered by your insurance if it's not for diabetes.
Yeah.
But I do think I would try if I hadn't just heard that the weight comes back on. It's the same old story. It feels like.
Well,
but I
because
think it'll be interesting to see down. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Mom.
No, I was going to say it'll be interesting to see if down the road people that did use it are able to find a way to keep it off once the weight is off, or if they can stop some of the habits that it supposedly is helping with. And if that's the case, I think they found the perfect answer for everybody. But I had heard about this quite a long time ago and was really following it. I believe that Weight Watchers is somehow connecting people to this now. There's something that they do once you join them that you can get access to something along these lines to help you, which I find interesting. So I don't know, but I would try. So I'm one of the people out there that say yes, I would.
All right. If it wasn't cost prohibitive and you knew that it wasn't just going to immediately come back, you would try.
Yeah, I definitely would give it a whirl. But I'd like to know how much it costs. I've been trying to find out what it costs. For a person that can't get it through insurance. If someone out there knows, that'd be awesome.
We will take a look, Deb.
If you are out there right now and you know how much Ozempic costs without insurance coverage, 844-967-2789. Help Debbie Bry out.
Let me help Mama Bry. Yeah. Okay.
Mama Bry.
Thank you.
Thanks, Deb.
And that's so interesting because I know, my mom's I think it's interesting because she's similar to me of like the time of day and the having a drink or having a snack or kind of the like habitual things. And so it's interesting to me because unlike what was it, the 70s or 80s where doctors were basically just prescribing speed as a diet drug.
And that was in the 70s and the 80s.
And it was like, here you go. Like, just here's some meth and you'll lose some weight. It's like, of course I will.
And that even went into, there was a different diet pill that came out later in the late 80s, 90s, I want to say, that ultimately, and again, they would enlist disc jockeys to take these pills and then talk about it on the air, and they ended up having to pull them off the market because they were causing heart problems.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, it's a bit ironic to be that I get that you guys talk to the audience as a radio disc jockey or a radio talk show host. We talk to our audience every single day. But until recently, because we do the live stream, people couldn't actually see you. So how could they verify whether or not you were losing weight?
Well, we did a lot of appearances then.
Yeah,
we really did. We did a lot of appearances. We were out all over the place, and so that was how people could check. And then in 6 months, they saw that I was fluffy again. So, yeah.
But I think that's a really good point because I feel like every couple years there's some magic drug or magic diet that comes out to help people lose weight. And then years later, there's some issue with it that cause other health issues. And I want to keep talking about this after the break. So we would love to hear from you. 844-967-2789. Have you already tried Ozempic? Do you know how much it costs? But also, would you, knowing that it's could help with more than just weight loss, but also addictive behaviors? Is this something you would try before it was necessarily FDA approved? 844-96.
Feeling down, anxious, depressed? You are not alone. According to the World Health Organization, approximately 280 million people have depression, but the majority never receive treatment. At WellPoint Care Network, they can help. Their outpatient clinic staff are both qualified and caring, not to mention highly trained in partnering with you on your healing journey. Make an appointment today at wellpointcare.org. They serve all ages, infants, children, and adults. Both in-person and virtual services are available. Learn more at wellpointcare.org.
Hey, this is Lindsay Keinert at 540 WAUK The Shaw. At Civic Media, we love our local communities and want to share your stories. Submit your local event and we'll let our listeners know. Email me, Lindsay Keinert, at info@civicmedia.us. That's info@civicmedia.us.
Hey, this is Matt from Design Garden. Remember when the internet was new? Back then, you had to leave your house to start a business. Companies used to pay programmers bags of cash to get online. Now, small businesses can get online with a Facebook business page or Squarespace, or Google My Business or WordPress? But which tools should you use? Can you afford to go down the wrong path? Design Garden uses modern tools to build your website the right way. Find us online at design.garden. Again, that's design.garden.
You are never far away from your favorite radio station. We're always streaming on TuneIn and the Civic Media app. And if you missed your favorite show or game, listen to a podcast of it anytime on the app or our website, civicmedia.us.
Here's your updated forecast on the Shaw. Daytime highs approaching 84. This afternoon, under mainly clear skies, southerly winds 5 to 10 miles an hour. Mainly clear tonight, lows dip down to about 52. High temperatures reach up to 59. Tomorrow, a mix of clouds and sun. Temps a bit below average Thursday and Friday, with highs from the low 60s to the upper 60s. For Civic Media, I'm meteorologist Derek Height. Currently, it's 73 degrees.
Kinda like Joe.
Would you try Ozempic for something other than managing your diabetes? 844-967-2789. That's 844-96-PARTY. And we're asking this because I think for the last 6 months or so,
Almost a
Ozempic
year.
Yeah, Ozempic has
Yeah.
been in the news a lot for weight loss, but now The Atlantic, in the last week has reported that it also may help addictive behavior, like drinking and smoking and I don't know. I wonder if like gambling, like or sex, like all these other things that people get addicted to, like but I also would be interested to see if that reduces because if what they said is true, that it's because it's rewiring the reward centers in the brain, doesn't that work for all the little things that we do with dopamine, like social media and like checking? I just posted a video this morning, like, and the habit and the dopamine kick of
A little
how many
hit.
people have liked it, how many people like last night I posted a video because we're going to be talking about the role that Green Bay seems to be on as a city. But for some reason, that video took off. I have like 50,000 views on that video right now from last night on TikTok. And I kept checking in last night with that little dopamine kick of like, well, how many people have seen it now? How many people have seen it now? And Mike was like, you're such a nerd. But that's dopamine, right? Like that is the little kick that you get and then you feel let down. And so does it help with all of those things or is it just substances?
See, we don't. That's part of the problem is we don't know enough about those side effects yet. And I understand the rewiring of the brain, but again, once you stop, doesn't your brain unwire?
Well, and this is just interesting. We just got a message on the Facebook live stream from Chris Wasner. Is Ozempic addictive?
Good question.
It's a very good question.
Yes.
And I'm just like, because right now it's just sounding like, oh, this could be a miracle drug for a lot of people.
Yep.
Because obesity, and it's not just because there's two sides of the weight loss thing. Because there's vanity and the eating disorders and the thin culture and everything. And there's also an obesity crisis, right?
Oh,
There is certainly the health aspects of helping people who do need to lose weight. Like Ozempic's not for me, right? And that it's a serious, obesity is a serious problem. And so it's like, if between opioid addiction, alcoholism, eating disorders, drug addiction, like all these different things that like, if it really doesn't have long-term effects, but we just don't know yet. And considering that there's been a shortage, it's for the people who actually do need it, who it is prescribed for diabetes.
Right.
How many people are willing to try it?
844-967-2789, 844-96-PARTY. I did find a review of Ozempic and how much it costs, reviewed by Dr. Steve Silvestro from March 13th of this year. Ozempic is a prescription pen, FDA approved to treat type 2 diabetes. Each pen comes pre-filled with multiple doses of the drug. If you qualify for insurance coverage, Ozempic can cost as little as $25 for a monthly supply. Without insurance, it costs $892 a month.
That is
woof.
That is a lot of money.
That is a lot of money.
What would be interesting, though, this just popped into my brain. If they're going to start doing trials to move this forward potentially as a weight loss drug, maybe you could sign up for a free trial and get paid to take it.
I've been a guinea pig too many times.
It doesn't sound like you do not seem like the person who wants to try this.
Oh, I could stand to lose 30 pounds easily. But again, this all makes me twitchy because we just don't know about the long-term ramifications yet. Remember when they were liposectioning out your fat cells?
Mm-hmm.
And someone approached me about that at one time too when I was at a different radio station. And I said, no, that did not appeal to me. And it turned out maybe a year later, because Jamie Lee Curtis had this done.
Okay.
And when they remove those fat cells, if you gain any weight, that fat pops up someplace else. So just because the fat around your hips, those fat cells are gone, she was getting blobs on her back.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So there, again, it also, I'm always suspicious when it's too good to be true.
Yeah.
And I would love it to be true. That would be wonderful. And just think what it could do for, again, all types of addictions and obesity. But it's so early, people.
Well, and we just got a message from Brady on the Facebook live stream, which you can always watch at As Goes Wisconsin on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. We would love to, if you would like to watch us. Brady said, Ozempic's not for me, but I wonder how fast we can see developments in medicine in the future, considering how quickly we developed a vaccine for COVID. And that was also popped into my head as I was reading about this, of the amount of people who are willing to try Ozempic for weight loss or for addictive behaviors, who were also very skeptical of the COVID vaccine.
Oh, I think
I wonder what that Venn diagram looks like and how many people are in both.
I have a feeling there's some crossover there.
There's some crossover.
There's some crossover there.
Of just
entirely speculatively.
I have no idea what the numbers are, but it would be interesting to see if this is an example of how we pick and choose what we're skeptical of and what outcomes we're desiring so much that we are willing to take the risk versus get the jab. All right. If you still want to weigh in on this topic, would you take Ozempic? Have you taken Ozempic? We would love to hear from you. 844-967-2789. That's 844-96-PARTY. But we will be back in just a minute with some Wisconsin headlines as well. This is As Goes Wisconsin.
If you're hanging out in Waukesha, it's 101.1 FM. In southeastern Wisconsin, it's 540 AM. And all around the world on the Civic Media app. The Shaw, WAUK.
CBS News Brief. House Speaker McCarthy says White House talks on raising the debt ceiling were productive. CBS's Nicole Killian says the hope is the process can be completed by next week.
He's going to continue to talk to President Biden. He has encouraged the negotiators to continue talking in the hopes that they can craft something. I mean, he said it was really critical that they try to get a deal this week in order to meet that timetable.
Surgeon General Vivek Murthy is calling on tech companies and parents to take immediate action to protect kids on social media. Earlier, he told CBS News 13 was too young for social media.
Their brains are still developing. They're at a critical stage. And I think it's just too risky for kids at that age.
CBS's Nancy Cordes on the U-Haul truck that rammed a barrier near the White House.
This incident took place around 10 p.m. last night. Video of the aftermath of this crash appears to show officers collecting evidence, including a flag with a Nazi symbol on it.
CBS News Brief. I'm Steve Kathan.
You're listening to a radio station that's part of the Civic Media Network. Find more at civicmedia.us.
For Civic Media News, I'm Terry Bell. Here's what you need to know. The state Senate holds its first hearing on the shared revenue overhaul bill today. Lawmakers want to use 20% of the state sales tax income to send more money to local governments, but Republicans disagree on how to raise sales taxes in Milwaukee and Milwaukee County. A study shows the Brewers Stadium has had more than a $2.5 billion impact on Wisconsin's economy. That's why a coalition is working to convince lawmakers to budget millions for upkeep. The coalition's Tracy Johnson says that money ends up all over Wisconsin.
That benefits the entire state. So the activity might be right here in southeastern Wisconsin, but the benefit is felt statewide.
Johnson on Newsmakers on the Wisconsin Eye Public Affairs Network. In sports, the Astros bullied the Brewers last night 12-2, same two teams tonight, and Green Bay will host the 2025 NFL Draft. I'm Terry Bell, and this is Civic Media News.
Have fun on the lake this summer. Treat yourself and find the watercraft you want at Action Boathouse Showroom just south of 59 on 164 in Waukesha. Check out the fun and versatile Sea-Doo Switch with its powerful Rotax jet engine. Action Boathouse Showroom also has a selection of luxury fishing boats or pontoon boats from 7 top USA manufacturers. The team at Action Boathouse Showroom is excited to help you launch into the sun this season and onto the lake. Action Boathouse Showroom just north of 59 on 164 in Waukesha.
This is the story of a very special woman. Just a few knew about her superpowers. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Civic Media promised you something big to celebrate our new and still growing network of radio stations. When we announced the one-day $1 million advertising giveaway for Wisconsin businesses, you responded.
Just wanted to echo your sentiments about the advertising. That's really a cool deal and really remarkable.
$1 million of free advertising. Now, if you missed this chance to work with our team, go to civicmedia.us and click on the sponsorship tab. One of our local sales pros will get right back to you. civicmedia.us and sponsorship.
Hi, we're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that our daughters have what they need to grow and learn. But that isn't the case for nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. that struggle with hunger.
Childhood hunger is a heartbreaking.
Welcome back to As Goes Wisconsin. I am Kristen Bry. She is Jane Madnair, and we are rolling through this beautiful Tuesday, May 23rd. And,
enjoy it.
Enjoy it. Yes, it is. It is very nice out. I feel like we're getting to the days where every day is just going to be nice, or at least most days are going to be nice.
Tomorrow it's going to be 59 degrees, so just keep that in mind. It's Wisconsin.
Still nicer than 40.
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
take it. It's going to be sunny?
I am checking right now. Yes.
Great.
Sunny and like 60. So it's a little under what would normally be, but we'll take that. That's all right.
We will take that. And actually, we should start publicizing this because there's going to be a bit of a schedule change for us at Civic Media. And so we might as well start letting you know now. But as of right now, obviously, this show starts at 11 every day. But starting on June 5th, we're going to start at 10 and we're going to go till noon. And so trying to give more heads up and that there is going to be a time shift. But yeah, so we're going to be starting the show at 10, going to noon on June 5th. So we got 2 more weeks in this time slot. But I'm excited. I'm excited for a little bit of an earlier start and a earlier end time. What about you, Jane?
Absolutely. It will. And it's going to be good for the whole station. It's going to be good for all the shows. And I think everybody's going to really like it. I do.
Yeah.
844-967-2789, 844-96-PARTY. We were talking in the earlier segment about Ozempic and its use as a weight loss drug. And Gary from Nina is joining us. Hey, Gary, what's up?
Hello. First of all, I want to say I love your network and everything it stands for. I listen to it all the time. But I think one thing that's being missed on this, I have an adult son with type 2 diabetes and he has special needs, that people with diabetes cannot get this drug because the demand has gone up for people using it for weight loss.
Yeah.
And I would love for a pharmacist to call in and kind of explain that for people who are looking to lose, 10 or 15 pounds, there's people that need this drug to regulate their blood sugar and they're having a hard time getting it. I have a son who misses injections. It's a once-a-week injection, and he has to miss injections to control his blood sugar because they can't keep it in stock.
Yeah, that's
a huge issue.
Absolutely, Gary. That's got to be frightening, and you have to wonder if there wouldn't be a way to prioritize the distribution of Ozempic for people with who need it for diabetes.
Well, the problem is to my understanding, when it comes into a pharmacy, it's just a script refill. So people who are discussing with their doctors and using it for weight loss, and those doctors who write those scripts, a pharmacy just sees a prescription come in. But you're right, if there was a way to prioritize, but right now, it for sure is not happening. Like I said, I would love for a pharmacist or a pharmacy tech to call in to kind of clarify what I'm talking about, but it is a huge issue. And like the one that my son takes is a higher dosage, and this is scary to me. There's people that are taking the higher dosage, which is for people that have a more severe type 2 diabetes and need a higher dose to control. They're even using that. And
for weight loss.
I kind of get people for weight loss. And it's like, we have to put this in perspective. And you guys kind of brought up before about some of the other drug fads. And really what I look at it as, it's a fad that people are doing. And to my understanding, it's a short-term gain. And I don't know, I kind of blame the doctors who are driving it to people. And as you noted, it's a very, very expensive drug.
Yeah. So, yeah.
The cost that you gave, it's very expensive.
Yeah. Well, the article I found, Gary, said that if you have insurance, it's $25 a month. If you don't, it's $850 a month, which is just choking. But we completely understand with your concern for your son and his ability to get it. To stay alive, my goodness.
Right. I mean, if trust me, and there's so many people now with type 2 diabetes, and I'm not sure if they use it for type 1, but for sure for type 2, there's so many people that need that drug, and it's very, very hard to get right now.
Yeah, I think the way I understand it, I think if you're taking insulin, you wouldn't need this. And so if type 1 people who are taking insulin, or even advanced cases of type 2, you wouldn't be taking both. But yeah, thank you so much for the call, Gary, and that perspective.
Thanks a lot, Gary. Have a good day.
And actually, Tony Zimmerman on the Facebook live stream, my wife is a pharmacist and has brought up this exact point about using drugs for off-label use. It really can hurt availability for people who need them for their intended purpose.
Yeah.
And this is, this was last week when we were talking about what is the biggest public health concern, in your opinion, right now. And I forgot who called in and said the drug shortage. But I saw this morning on Axios that shortages of cancer drugs and other life-saving medications are reaching their worst point in a decade.
And is that because we have so many more cancer patients who need these drugs?
It's forcing the physicians to develop workarounds and the Biden administration to mount an all of government response. But the shortfalls are surfacing deeply entrenched. Like they're creating entrenched problems in it's basically our drug supply chain. And a recent House hearing examined a race to the bottom in price that chills investment in manufacturing and can leave just one or two companies actively producing a drug in shortage. And so what they're saying is, this comes from Scott Gottlieb, who's the former FDA commissioner and a Pfizer board member. Quote, this generic business, particularly for those complex drugs, these complex formulations, is not a healthy business right now. There are things that the government can do, but most of them are going to cost money. We're going to have to look for ways to provide more reimbursement for these hard to manufacture drugs. So there are more than 300 drugs in shortage, which is the highest since 2014. And the American Cancer Society warned earlier this month about potentially life-threatening supply problems of chemotherapy drugs, which don't have an effective alternative.
It's going to be tough to drum up a lot of sympathy for drug manufacturers not making enough money.
But this is the problem with private drug manufacturers, right? Like, if it's not a good business for them and there's nothing that's being supplemented by the government to be like, hey, you have to make this. What's the pull, right? And because less life-threatening than chemotherapy drugs or even Ozempic, as Gary was just saying. But also in the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel this morning, there's an Adderall shortage. So families so families are struggling to get refills, and students are struggling to focus. And so there's a lot of both adults and kids who focus on who rely on Adderall to be able to like function in society. I would say, again, before I was pregnant, I was one of those people, and a lot more disorganized these days.
You're faking it really well, though. You're faking
those
it really
acting
well.
chops. Those acting chops, really. For 3 hours a day, I can pretend that I have it together. But this is a huge issue, and it kind of goes back to supply and demand of what is a right versus what is an entitlement, as far as because of supply and demand with companies and like privatized systems, that if they can't make a profit off of it, even though it saves people's lives and people need it, there's not the business incentive for them to be producing more. It's insane.
Which is really sad.
It's really sad. And, and it's interesting. Like, I think about this is because this was the story I was going to talk about before Gary called. Similar but different, but we've talked so much about affordable housing and our shortage of it in Wisconsin. So, as we always do, applaud bipartisanship. I think we need like a sound effect.
Snaps. We need some snaps.
Maybe some snaps.
Okay,
sound
we'll get
effects
some
every
snaps.
time there's a bipartisan effort in Wisconsin.
Oh my God, they accomplished something. Stop. I can't take it.
They're not signed yet.
All right,
but,
that's true.
State lawmakers have unveiled a package of bills aimed at addressing Wisconsin's housing shortage. And largely part of the housing shortage has been it's very expensive to build houses right now. So the incentives for developers has not been there, because why would you build houses if you don't think you're going to make money off of it?
Sure.
And this is why, as much as people want really small government, sometimes we need government to come in and use its hand to influence the natural free market, right? Because
influence businesses to do the right thing.
That's also true. But I mean, that's not that's not why they exist, right? Like literally in like the bylines of corporations is for publicly traded companies, their number one like goal is to maximize profits for their shareholders.
Right.
It's not to do good in the world. And that's legally what they have to do. And so so basically, supporters of this legislation that's been introduced say that the bills will target high construction costs through low to zero interest loans for certain housing projects, as well as make it easier for local governments to approve housing developments. So this so far has received support from real estate, building groups, local government associations, and public health associations. So far, seems like something popular.
That's encouraging.
But this comes when Wisconsin needs to build at least 140,000 housing units by the end of this decade to keep pace with current demand.
How many?
140,000.
Wow.
So
and this is a problem all over the country.
It's a problem all over the country. It's a problem all over the state. I mean, community after community, you hear this as far as like rents are going up. It's impossible to buy a house that is. I think when we talked to one of the Milwaukee area real estate presidents,
is it Mike Ruzicka?
Yes, and he was like, houses over $500,000, those are a little bit more in supply, but there's less people who are trying to buy those houses.
Shocking, I know.
Shocking.
Yes.
But the bills would establish a revolving loan funds for workforce and senior housing, Main Street housing rehabilitation, and turning vacant commercial buildings into new residential developments, all of which seem like good things.
Yeah, definitely.
And then another bill would establish a low to no interest loan program for residents making improvements to homes built before 1980. And all of those programs would be administered by the Wisconsin Housing and Economic Development Authority. So this seems like a positive development as far as people saying, for people from conservative groups, progressive groups, like across the board, this is an issue as far as affordable housing. So it's good to see that like there's actually a package of bills that could target this problem.
What the heck is going on in Madison?
I know.
When did they start actually decide to do things for constituents? It's shocking.
Shocking. Well, we'll see. Well, hopefully, if this is actually bipartisan, this can get through and get signed because we have some work to do.
We do.
But yeah, I mean, it's interesting how it goes hand in hand with what we were talking about as far as sometimes the free market just doesn't solve things by itself.
It needs a nudge.
It needs a nudge because part of the reason why it's not even just the building costs of affordable housing, of like the actual bricks, lumber, labor, interest rates are high right now.
They
and
are.
so getting a loan to develop new property or rehab new property, there's less people wanting to do that if they have to take out just a regular bank loan with super high interest. And so part of one of the bills, having a low to no interest loan program, means we can take out money to build this type of housing. So it helps developers want to make that business investment.
That would be great. Go Wisconsin
Go
legislature.
Wisconsin. All right.
Yay.
Speaking of go Wisconsin, a certain Green Bay is having its moment. So we're going to talk about that when we come back. And we're going to give away Brewers tickets. So if you would like to go to the game at 6:40 on Thursday, we have 2 tickets for you. Call in during the next segment. We'll be right back.
The 4 most dreaded words. My computer is down. Oh boy, that bites. Remain sane. PC and Bat together will fix the pain. Rated #1 PC doctor in Southeast Wisconsin. Great service, great rates, and fast service with no trip charge. Experts with PCs, laptops, network servers, protection, backups, and can even help you remotely. Click PCandBat.com or call us at 262-706-3235. That's 262-706-3235. Remain sane. We fix the pain.
North Shore Healthcare is hiring. As the largest provider of post-acute care in Wisconsin, they offer skilled nursing and assisted living services, as well as home health and hospice care through North Shore at Home. They're looking for compassionate individuals who want to make a difference in the lives of those they serve. If you're a CNA, licensed nurse, administrator, or business professional and want to grow your career, visit nshorehc.com/careers to find out why North Shore Healthcare is the right choice for you.
This is the story of a very special woman. Just a few knew about her superpowers. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Here's your updated forecast on the Shaw. High temperatures reach up to 84 this afternoon under mainly clear skies. Winds out of the south 5 to 10 miles an hour. Mainly clear tonight. Lows level off around 52. A blend of clouds and sun tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 59. Clear skies Thursday with daytime highs approaching 61. 68 Friday. For Civic Media, I'm meteorologist Derek Height. Kurt.
Your sports team is vastly inferior. That simple fact is plainly obvious to see. We're gonna kick your collective posterior. Of course you realize we're speaking figuratively.
Would you like to go to the Brewers game against the San Francisco Giants this Thursday at 6:40 p.m.? We have 2 pairs of tickets to give away, and we are giving away the first pair right now. So give us a call, 844-967-2789, if you would like to go to Thursday's game at 6:40 p.m. And we are playing the San Francisco Giants. And yeah, Jane will be here to take your call, 844-967-2789. We'll just take the first caller. Let's make it easy.
All right.
We
do request that if you've won within the last month, you give someone else an opportunity.
Absolutely. And as a reminder that you can always hear the Brewers if you can't attend the game with our flagship brewer station, Oshkosh Air Support, 98.3 FM and 1100 AM, which you can hear throughout the Fox Valley. And you can also hear the Brewers and catch the Brewers on WRCE News from the Center in Richland Center, 107.7 FM and 1450 AM. So big shout out to them. And yeah, these are, as we always say, these are good tickets.
Yes.
Jane, we're going to get you to go to a game this year.
I would love that.
Yeah.
I really would. Yeah, I would love that. I want to buy a $19 hot dog and enjoy the experience. No, I really would like to go. I haven't been to a game in a long time.
We remember it's one of the cheaper places, cheaper ballparks for a hot dog. Remember when we did that? It was one of the more expensive places to get a beer, which is shocking since we are the Brew City, but it's one of the cheaper ballparks to get a hot dog. So not a $19 hot dog.
All right. Hey, I'm in. I am totally in. And again, if you want those tickets, just give us a jingle, 844-967-2789, 844-96-PARTY.
So, Green Bay.
What's going on?
Having a moment. It's a vibe. It's a feeling.
It's a thing.
It's a thing. But Green Bay is a little bit, it's on a roll. First, there was Simone Biles on May 12th announcing that she and her husband, Mr. Biles, are moving to the Green Bay because he got signed as a safety by the Packers. Then a couple days later, U.S. News proclaimed that Green Bay is the #1 place to live in the country.
Wow.
And then, we can't forget Ben Chan, who set a record for consecutive runaway games on Jeopardy. So he's a professor at St. Norbert. And so that's another win and, national attention. And then yesterday, the NFL draft coming to Green Bay in 2025.
That's really quite a thing.
It's quite, that's a big thing.
It is.
Thoughts and prayers that there's not going to be a snowstorm at the end of April in 2025 because,
it would be fitting.
It can happen. It
can happen.
To happen. But, with that comes a lot of money to Wisconsin's economy. And so yesterday, the league chose Green Bay, which is obviously its smallest market by far, for the massive 3-day event, which will largely take place at Lambeau Field and in the Titletown district. And here are some of the key numbers that are highlighted that will come with the event. And an estimated 240,000 people will attend the draft.
240,000?
I'm trying to think because I'm pretty sure because I was down in the Deer District for those games. Like we went to a couple games. We were down the Deer District for a couple games in 2021. And I think the most that ever got to was like 50,000. And that felt like a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so that's 240,000 people. An estimated $94 million in economic impact will be generated statewide, $20 million locally. And Kansas City, which just had the draft, reported 320,000 visitors for the 2023 draft it had in April. So clearly Green Bay does not have enough hotels.
I didn't think so.
So visitors will likely stay around the state in Appleton, Oshkosh, Milwaukee. Staying in Madison feels like a longer drive. I feel like people staying up and down the coast of like Door County and all of the places that all of the Airbnbs. If you're thinking about starting an Airbnb, do it before 2025. And if you live anywhere within like an hour to 2 hour drive of
Lambeau.
Green Bay, this is your sign. This is your sign to get that Airbnb put together, if anything, for next in 2025 April. But yeah, so big congratulations to Green Bay. This is like, it was funny because this is what I posted my video about last night. And one of the reasons why I think that there's a fair amount of views on it is because people are fighting in the comments over if this is deserved or not.
Oh, see, and I knew there would be whining. So who's whining about this? Are they Bears fans?
No, it's not Bears fans. It's people who lived in Green Bay who are like, I don't know, like there's like, people who left or came and It's like anyone where you have other places that you like more, but some people are very defensive and proud of their city, and some people are like, really, Green Bay?
Hey, why not? I mean, right where it's the smallest city in the NFL. It's unique ownership. It's a gem. It's a little gem, and don't they always move it around? I mean, doesn't everybody get to take a turn or not?
I don't know if everybody gets to take a turn, considering this is the first time it will ever be coming to Green Bay.
Good
But
point.
and also even more news breaking. Brady just put on our Facebook live stream and just announced today, U.S. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg will be in Green Bay Wednesday, highlighting the Biden administration's infrastructure program. That's not as exciting. That's cool, but like I would say the NFL draft is probably a bigger deal. Simone Biles, more famous probably, but also good news.
Hey, it's all good for Wisconsin. So it's good for
Wisconsin.
all of us. It's good for all of us, which is wonderful. That's fabulous.
Yeah. So there you go. Go Green Bay. But we are still giving away those Brewers tickets. So if you would like to go sit in club seats on Thursday at 6:40 p.m., we have 2 tickets for you if you call in now. We're playing the San Francisco Giants. Off the top of my head, I do not know how good the Giants are this year, so I can't tell
Brewers,
you, but
the crew's been struggling a little bit lately.
yeah, which is, we had a strong start, but we're also, I mean, that's what Paul told us last week, right? Is that we're just really injured. But yes, so if you would like to win those tickets, we got 2 tickets for you, 6:40 p.m. Thursday's game this Thursday, 844-96-party. Jane is there to take your call. First person to call in will win those tickets. And as always, those tickets are brought to you by our Brewers flagship station, Oshkosh Air Support, 98.3 FM and 1100 AM, and also WRCE News from the Center in Richland Center, 107.7 FM, 1450 AM. We got to take a break for the top of the hour news. We'll be back in just a minute.
Swift defeat that carries backed up by empirical evidence. We're gonna grind up your guys into burger meat. Again, of course, we're speaking in the figurative sense. What's the use of even going through the motions? Burger meat. Again, of course, we're speaking in the figurative sense. What's the use of even going through the motions? Burger meat.
Real Chili's been serving up mouth-watering goodness to the people of Milwaukee since 1931. Their famous secret award-winning chili recipe is the same as it was back then and a local treasure. From lunch to dinner to late-night breakfast, Real Chili has you covered. And now you can bring the Real Chili to your next party, tailgate, wedding, or office gathering with their unbeatable catering options. And don't forget about their Real Love party packs, perfect for small groups, and pick up from their 2 convenient locations, downtown Milwaukee and near Marquette University campus. Visit them at realchili.com. That's realchili.com.
Miss our conversations on air? Join the discussion on our social media channels. Find Civic Media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also find social media for specific shows and hosts on our website. Go to civicmedia.us.
You're listening to The Shaw, WAUK 540 AM Jackson, W266DR Waukesha, and always streaming on the Civic Media app.
This is the story of...
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Steel.
I'm Steve Kaith, and millions have a travel destination on their minds for the upcoming Memorial Day weekend.
We're going to Dubai. We're going to Mexico. We're going everywhere.
Record numbers are expected, according to AAA. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg moments ago on the expectation for airlines.
I have seen, again, a lot of improvement in terms of the numbers so far this year, and I'm confident that the customer service commitments that we have secured from the airlines are going to make a difference.
On the road, a change of heart from Ford, which was planning to ditch AM radio from new vehicles.
AM requires extra shielding in electric vehicles, so Ford had taken that out as a cost-saving measure. They were going to remove it in other vehicles. Now CEO Jim Farley says after speaking with policy leaders about the importance of AM broadcast radio, they've decided to keep it in all 2024 model year Fords and Lincolns.
That's Jeff Gilbert of affiliate WWJ Detroit. Productive was the word used after yesterday's White House talks on the debt ceiling, but there's no deal yet, and CBS's Jared Hill tells us
concerns over the impasse have moved beyond Washington. From Wall Street,
this debt ceiling debate is bringing and leading uncertainty in the market.
To Main Street.
I don't like living like this, with the government fighting around, playing games.
The president and the speaker say they want a deal both parties can support in Congress, but the time to get it done is quickly running out.
The Surgeon General is calling on tech firms and parents to act now to protect the mental health of kids who are on social media. Earlier this year, Dr. Vivek Murthy told CBS News he thought 13 was too young for unfettered access.
Many of the algorithms on social media and more broadly, on the web will direct kids often toward content that may not be helpful, in fact, may actively be harmful to their mental health and well-being.
Late last night near the White House, a U-Haul truck rammed a security gate. CBS's Nancy Cordes.
A spokesperson for the Secret Service confirms this driver may have intentionally struck the security barriers. They worked the way they were supposed to work. Now, this crash remains under investigation, but authorities have confirmed charges will be filed against the driver, including assault with a dangerous weapon and threatening to harm the president, vice president, or their family members.
The driver is ID'd as a 19-year-old Missouri man. Among the items spotted in the vehicle, a Nazi flag. Wall Street, the Dow is up 19 points. NASDAQ is down 18. This is CBS News.
There are over 10,000 reasons why steel is not sold at Lowe's or the Home Depot. There are over 10,000 authorized local steel dealers. Find yours at steelusa.com. Lowe's and Home Depot are trademarks of their respective companies.
Your home for local news, weather, and sports across the airwaves and always streaming on the Civic Media app.
For Civic Media, I'm Jane Matnair. Here's what you need to know. Parents at Monday night's meeting of the Grafton School Board expressed frustration over the handling of a teacher at John Long Middle School. David Schrader is facing a felony charge of terrorist threats. Prosecutors say he threatened his students in class earlier this month after Schrader found 2 students with a swastika drawing and told the class, quote, "I wish pain on you and all your families," unquote. Schrader also said he owned 17 guns. Schrader, who is Jewish, wasn't arrested until hours after the incident after a parent called police. In Burlington, a memorial of flowers and candles continues growing in honor of 16-year-old Jack Myers. The junior at Burlington High School was struck and killed by a train Sunday afternoon. Investigators say Myers tried to cross the tracks while the warning signals were activated. I'm Jane Matnair. This is Civic Media News.
The 4 most dreaded words. My computer is down. Oh boy, that bites. Remain sane. PC and Pat together will fix the pain. Rated #1 PC doctor in Southeast Wisconsin. Great service, great rates, and fast service with no trip charge. Experts with PCs, laptops, network servers, protection, backups, and can even help you remotely. Click PCandBack.com or call us at 262-706-3235. That's 262-706-3235. Remain sane. We fix the pain.
This is the story of a very special woman. Just a few knew about her superpowers. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Ready for our little forest adventure?
Yes! So much waiting for me. Yeah, I wanna go outside. I wanna be.
We're here.
Whoa, that was fast.
There's a forest closer than you think. Find a park or forest near you and music inspired by nature. DiscoverTheForest.org. Brought to you by USDA Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Join the conversation with your favorite hosts or shows anytime. Follow Civic Media on Twitter.
How many plays have you done over the years?
Oh, many. Many.
Would you do another one? Should we do a play? And put it up somewhere and do it as like a fundraiser someday?
That'd be great.
No business like show business, like no business I know.
Moving Wisconsin forward, one joke at a time. This is Kristen Bry with As Goes Wisconsin.
Yada, yada, yada. Hello, Wisconsin!
Hello, Wisconsin. Welcome back to As Goes Wisconsin on this Sunday, Tuesday, May 23rd. We are happy to be here, but this is also the second to last week that we will be airing at noon. We don't have many more lunch hours with you because as of June 5th, we are moving to our time slot to 10 to 12. So as of June 5th, we will be off and actually get a lunch break, Jane. Aren't you so excited to actually eat lunch at a normal hour?
I really am. And just the opportunity to get home before like 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Would be lovely. And
That
take the bike out
too.
for a ride and go for a walk and all of those wonderful things.
So if you are used to listening to this show live, we appreciate you. We love that you watch it live, but just mark your calendars that as of June 5th, you're going to have to do it a little bit earlier. We'll be on earlier. We're going to end earlier. But you know, my hope for this is the fact that being able to pack that much into 2 hours every day, I feel like the quality of the show will go up. And so being able to have more time off air to prep for being on air. And so I am very much looking forward to both the time change and having a 2-hour show instead of a 3-hour show. But
Absolutely.
But we are excited to have you come with us on that journey. But as always, if you can't listen to us live, because you
have a life.
You have a life, you have a job. You can't focus at your job while listening to people talk. That's kind of how I am. I need music versus talking. You can always listen to us as a podcast. So feel free to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, whether that be Spotify or Apple. And while you're there, certainly don't forget to leave us a review because that always helps. But also, or you can also find the show notes and every day's episode on asgoeswisconsin.com/listen. And so, but as you know, so the fun hour goes away.
Oh,
not
no.
entirely.
No,
It's probably not going to be called the no sour haha fun time power hour anymore. Because I think the way the structure of the show will probably go, we're still going to do news in the first hour and kind of the biggest stories of the day, do a question to kick off the show, hear from you, and then still do our interviews during the second hour. So
and lighter things and some lighter things.
Yeah. And so similar, we'll just be a balance between doing kind of some of the policy stuff and getting some of the experts that we get on, but then also getting the fun things that are happening around the state, the fun things that are, happening in general, or, I just reached out back to the UW linguist we talked to a couple weeks ago.
He was so fun. That was so much fun.
So he's going to come back because there was recently a Freakonomics podcast about the importance of swearing.
The importance?
The importance of swearing. And as someone who has had this debate with people in my family who shall remain nameless, I have argued in the past that there have been studies done as far as like the intellectual aptitude of people who curse more and the like linguistic argument for why we curse and like the cathartic feeling of it, and how there's also studies that have been done as far as people who curse more also come off as more authentic and like all of these different things. So we're going to get, someone who really needs to like reel it in because of the FCC every day now. I'm really excited to be we're going to get him back on the show. So it's still stuff like that. So we are still going to be doing a lot of fun things, just in a tighter programming.
A little more compressed. By the way, I wanted to congratulate Jeff Paulinski, who called in and got those Brewers tickets for this Thursday night, 6:40 at AmFam Field. Jeff was very excited. He's never won anything from us before, so Thank you so much, Jeff, for listening and calling in. And you always say too, Kristen, you want to tag us, take some pictures when you're at the game and tag As Goes Wisconsin so we can share how good those seats are.
Absolutely. Well, I thought we were going to talk about childcare with Brooke Skidmore, who is the co-founder or the co-owner of the Growing Tree and co-founder of Wisconsin Early Childhood Action Needed, also known as We Can. But we might have gotten the time screwed up. And so I am trying to see if we should swap and talk about brands, or if we think that she might still have time to join us. I actually think there she is. Brooke, hello.
Hi, I apologize. I'm at work right now, and childcare doesn't always, I'm not always able to plan accordingly.
I can't even imagine.
That's actually a great way to start the segment as far as, childcare is childcare. Childcare is infrastructure. Childcare is necessary. And the fact that it doesn't always, it's not a remote job that you could just jump on the radio all the time. So we're so happy to have you, Brooke. Thank you so much for taking time to join us.
Thank you. Again, I apologize.
No, totally fine. So as I said, Brooke Skidmore is the founder and co-owner of the Growing Tree and the co-founder of Wisconsin Early Childhood Action Needed, which is an advocacy group of providers, parents, and other supporters of stronger support for childcare. And we've certainly talked about childcare on this show a fair amount, but recently, earlier this month, there was a day without childcare. And I was assuming the purpose is to show what it would be like if there was even less access than there already is to childcare across the state. And so can you tell me, just to start off with, like how that day went and kind of the goal of it?
Yes, the National Day Without Childcare, the goal of that is to bring awareness to the general public, not only to like our policymakers and parents, but for everyone to understand what the impact of childcare or what happens when there isn't childcare to our communities. And that's when parents are not able to work. So it's about raising awareness through that. And what we did in our area with We Can, which is Corrine Hendricks and myself, is we had a community conversation where we invited different representatives, policymakers to come in along with our families and have a discussion about what childcare means to them, the impact that it has for their families or their business when they don't have employees. And so it was a really good conversation. And I think it helps, again, bring that awareness that you don't necessarily have to have children for this to impact you.
And I think that is one of the things people don't always realize is obviously people who have children know the pain of the cost of childcare, but also the actually having access. Like we've talked about the show before. I am currently pregnant and I need to get on it as far as getting on wait lists, because I have friends who've been on wait lists. Their kid's 7 months old and they're still on wait lists that they signed up for while she was pregnant, right? And so the actual waiting list and even getting access to care is a huge issue. So, but it goes beyond just people who are planning to have kids or have kids. It actually affects everyone. So could you talk a little bit more about how you all are trying to work to connect the dots so people understand that this is everybody's problem?
Mm-hmm. Sure. It's important to know that brain development, 90% of brain development occurs before the age of 5. So with that said, that tells us that those early years are the foundation years. Those are what are going to indicate or set that child up on a trajectory, good or bad. So when we can provide children with a good start, we will most likely have a good outcome. And when that doesn't happen, it's much more costly to us as a society. So we know that when children experience quality early childcare, they are more likely to graduate from high school, to go to college. They are more likely to be healthier, which is significant for our health costs. so it saves us money. They have a higher tax base income when we can give them that foundation years. And then we know when they don't receive that, the cost is 10 to 17 times higher had we just been proactive and supported them in the early years. And the costs are increased health costs. It's our judicial system. It's our special education system. And it's paying higher for our state assistance programs as well. So all of that is not debatable. That's how it is. The research is clear, which is why most industrialized countries will support early childcare, because they see it as an investment in their communities. They know it will help their workforce, it will help their healthcare systems, and just morally, it helps people and their families.
Absolutely. And when we come back from the break, I want to make sure that we talk about what the child care count program is, and also the survey that your organization put out as far as surveying 600 different child care facilities. And so because we are basically at a breaking point that if this doesn't get funded in our state budget, how many potential childcare, we're already at a shortage, but how many might close if we don't actually get this funded?
It's a significant amount. We're talking from the ones that we surveyed, we're around like 20 to 25%. However, many of them said they most likely will have to close. It just won't be immediately. It'll probably be within that year, because what they would have to do is raise their tuition rates, and they are acknowledging that families won't be able to afford that. So that's why their closures may be not immediately, but it will happen.
But it's inevitable. We're talking to Brooke Skidmore, who is the co-owner of The Growing Tree and co-founder of Wisconsin Early Childhood Action Needed, also known as We Can, which is an advocacy group for providers, parents, and other supporters of childcare. So we're going to continue the conversation with her when we come back.
Oh, I get high with help from my friends. Yes, I get high with help from my friends.
Feeling down, anxious, depressed? You are not alone. According to the World Health Organization, approximately 280 million people have depression, but the majority never receive treatment. At WellPoint Care Network, they can help. Their outpatient clinic staff are both qualified and caring, not to mention highly trained in partnering with you on your healing journey. Make an appointment today at wellpointcare.org. They serve all ages, infants, children, and adults. Both in-person and virtual services are available. Learn more at wellpointcare.org.
Larry, it's your mom. Did you know the Civic Media Network covers the whole state of Wisconsin? They can help your business get the word out, whether you want to reach a smidge of folks or just want the whole kit and caboodle. Call 608-819-8255. Okay then, bye.
Hey, this is Matt from Design Garden. Remember when the internet was new? Back then, you had to leave your house to start a business. Companies used to pay programmers bags of cash to get online. Now, small businesses can get online with a Facebook business page or Squarespace, or Google My Business or WordPress? But which tools should you use? Can you afford to go down the wrong path? Design Garden uses modern tools to build your website the right way. Find us online at design.garden. Again, that's design.garden.
It's easy to listen to your favorite local radio station anytime. Download the Civic Media app from the Apple or Google Play Store, then listen live or whenever you want from anywhere for free.
Here's your updated forecast on the Shaw. High temperatures reach up to 84 this afternoon under mainly clear skies. Winds out of the south 5 to 10 miles an hour. Mainly clear tonight. Lows level off around 52. A blend of clouds and sun tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 59. clear skies Thursday with daytime highs approaching 61. 68 Friday. For Civic Media, I'm meteorologist Derek Height. Currently,
peanut butter, and jelly. Peanut butter, and jelly. First you take the peanuts and you crack them, crack them.
Welcome back to Ask Us Wisconsin. This is Kristen Bry. She is Jane Metnair. And we were talking to Brooke Skidmore, who is one of the co-founders of Wisconsin Early Childhood Action Needed, also known We Can, which is an advocacy group for providers, parents, and other supporters of childcare, which we desperately need. So just to make sure that we cover this. So what is childcare counts, Brooke?
Childcare Counts is a federally funded program that was in response to COVID. It's the use of ARPA funds for that. And the purpose of that funding was to try and stabilize the childcare field because we've been declining, I should say, for the last 10 years, but when COVID hit, it was definitely a quicker decline with providers closing their doors. So this funding was set up to stabilize the field, which it has done. The last 2 years that it has been implemented, we have seen the trajectory become more stable then. We were able, with the funds, we were able to increase the wages for teachers across the state. It went from $10.66 an hour to $12.66 an hour. And even saying that is not good. Clearly that's an issue. So that's the importance of childcare counts. And that is what is up for debate this budget, is whether or not the state wants to continue that program by funding it.
And it should be said that one of the reasons why childcare is so expensive is because when you're talking about kids who are under 4, under 3, the ratio of providers to children is really high, right? And so it's so expensive, and yet you hear these numbers of arguably people not even making a living wage despite being childcare providers. And is that simply is there a middleman in there, or is it just simply because it's so labor intensive that one person can only watch so many children? And so we need that many more people to actually be able to handle the supply and also make a living wage.
Right. It's similar. So early childcare really should be treated as a public good. It's part of the education system. So it would be similar to thinking our school systems. We know that private school systems are costly, and that's only available to certain people. And we're seeing the same thing. The childcare business model is broken. It doesn't work, and it frankly has never worked. The true cost of care is actually a lot more than what we are charging, but the market that families can't afford it. The federal research shows that for childcare, families should only be paying 7% of their income. But in Wisconsin, the average family household is paying 17% of their income for one child. And that's for one
child.
Right. So that's a significant barrier for accessing childcare. And at the same time, as a business owner of a child care center, the rates will directly apply to the teachers' wages. So for me to pay our teachers more, I have to charge more, and we already are one of the more expensive ones. I have a group childcare center, and we brought in tuition $390,000 last year, which seems like a lot, but then you need to consider we have to pay our mortgage, our insurance, our supplies, and then 9 people have to live off of that as well. So yes, families are paying a lot, and you would think with that money, but it doesn't work out. They don't equal each other. So that's right. That's the problem. And families, again, they can't afford to pay any more.
And Brooke, I can't even imagine your frustration and the frustration of other childcare providers when you hear some politicians say Wisconsinites are lazy and nobody wants to work. Well, if you have no one to watch your children, How are you supposed to get back into the workforce? It's this bad self-sustaining cycle, right?
Correct. And like Kristen was saying, under 2 is even more difficult for a parent to go back to work for that young child. And that goes back to the ratios. Our state ratio is 1 in 4. However, when we talk about quality, the recommendation is 1 in 3, 1 teacher to 3 babies. When meeting with our legislators that are trying to help and figure this out, it has been brought up that maybe we should increase that ratio, which from what the research shows, that will be the quickest way to end the under 2 childcare options, because there is not a teacher that wants 5 babies, especially if you're making $14, $12 an hour. And furthermore, our families in Wisconsin should not accept that. That would be okay for us to put that on somebody and expect a safe quality outcome for that child's care.
And I think just to very clearly clarify the difference between babysitting and childcare, that this is not just paying someone to watch your kids while you're out. This childcare is curriculum, it's development, it's people who have actually trained professionals, right?
Correct. Over 52% of us in Wisconsin have an associate's degree or higher, and we are required to do continuing education every year. And it is not babysitting. It is a high stress job, especially when you're doing it right. When you have such a passion for these children. You want them to succeed. You want them to learn to be kind. You want them to learn how to self-regulate, that executive function type thing, so that when they do go to school, they can learn. They're ready to learn. They can sit, they can have positive relationships. And these are the things that we work on. And I think a lot of people equate it to babysitting or are dismissive of those early years, is probably because we haven't invested in those early years. So when our government doesn't show that it's critical, like the other education systems, this is what happens. And this is why it's a failing field.
Well, Brooke, thank you so much for spending time with us today. This issue is so important. We'll certainly have you back as things develop, but thank you for your work and thank you for spending time.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, we'll be back right after the break. This is As Goes Wisconsin. Thank you for spending time.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, we'll be back right after the break. This is As Goes Wisconsin. Thank you for spending time.
Thank you.
Conversation that's not confined to the borders of the city of Waukesha. We cover all of southeastern Wisconsin, baby. The Shaw, WAUK.
CBS News brief. Transportation Secretary Buttigieg says the upcoming Memorial Day weekend will be a key test for airlines.
We're not going to prescribe every little detail of customer service, but we are trying to raise the bar on that. And I think that we can have affordable flights, profitable airlines, and happier passengers by doing that.
There's an investigation after what happened last night at a White House security gate.
A spokesperson for the Secret Service confirms this driver may have intentionally struck the security barriers. They worked the way they were supposed to work.
CBS's Nancy Cordes says the 19-year-old driver is facing charges. Correspondent Jim Krasula says Surgeon General Vivek Murthy wants action to protect kids on social media.
He says young people's use of social media is what he calls near universal, but its true impact is not fully understood. Murthy is also asking tech companies to share data and increase transparency with researchers and the general public.
CBS News Brief, I'm Steve Kathan.
The Civic Media Network of radio stations across Wisconsin. We are your hometown radio, refreshed.
For Civic Media News, I'm Terry Bell. Here's what you need to know. 7% of Wisconsin prisoners are behind bars for crimes they committed as kids. The study by Human Rights for Kids says that's more than any other state except Louisiana. The next big state budget battle looks to be Wisconsin's share of maintaining American Family Field. The ballpark supporters note the taxpayers own the stadium and the Brewers are just a tenant.
And a tenant really, they're not usually a
required to do major infrastructure maintenance at the facility.
That's Dan Kapanke, who serves on a coalition of supporters of the ballpark. A 2020 study showed AmFam Field had generated $2.5 billion for Wisconsin's economy. In sports, the Astros bullied the Brewers last night 12-2, same two teams tonight, and Green Bay will host the 2025 NFL Draft. I'm Terry Bell, and this is Civic Media News.
Have fun on the lake this summer. Treat yourself and find the watercraft you want at Action Boathouse Showroom just south of 59 on 164 in Waukesha. Check out the fun and versatile Sea-Doo Switch with its powerful Rotax jet engine. Action Boathouse Showroom also has a selection of luxury fishing boats or pontoon boats from 7 top USA manufacturers. The team at Action Boathouse Showroom is excited to help you launch into the sun this season and onto the lake. Action Boathouse Showroom just north of 59 on 164 in Waukesha.
Okay, let's get real.
Are you sick and tired of being sick and tired at your dead-end job? Want to stop worrying about money, health insurance? Get peace of mind right here, right now. Here's your chance to earn while you learn. Get smart. Call Smart Local 18 to learn how easy it is to be happy again to go to work. No matter what your situation is, everyone everywhere deserves an opportunity. Call now. 262-798-1818. That's 262-798-1818.
This is the story of a very special woman. Just a few knew about her superpowers. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
My name is Teresa Barber. I was in the United States Navy and I served overseas in the Middle East and Africa. Early on in my career, I had a commander that taught our suicide prevention.
Like to buy the world a home and furnish it with love. Grow apple trees and honey bees and snow white turtle doves. I like to teach the world to sing. Sing with me. Perfect harmony. Perfect harmony. I like to buy the world a home and keep it company.
What brands do you trust? 844-967-2789. Is there a brand that just inherently, when you see it, gives you good vibes? Just makes you feel a certain way. You don't roll your eyes over it, but it's a trusted brand. I would love to know if there is one in particular that you go hard for. 844-96-PARTY. And I'm trying to think if there is a company or a brand that I specifically am I just inherently support them.
Nothing.
Do you? Well, I'm sure there's one if I think harder, but do you have anything that you just feel like this is a good company?
When we were kicking this around to talk about this today, and I was thinking about it, and it probably is Subaru because I'm driving my 4th one. So obviously there's something about Subaru that I like. This is my 4th Subaru. Might be the end of this Subaru, but anyway, Grey Goose is starting to rattle pretty badly. I'm not too sure how long she's going to last. But yeah, I think Subaru. I feel pretty good about them. They support animal charities and animal rescue charities, which I support. I haven't seen anything in the news about them that would really annoy me.
Yeah. Yeah. So I bring this up because the Axios Harris Poll 100 came out. And as far as this goes over different brands, as far as how their public opinion, what public opinion is of them in 2023. And so when I look at the top 10, number 1 is Patagonia, which I think the clothing company, the outerwear maker. But that's the one where last year the founder and owner basically gave it away. It's like a $2.6 billion company or something like that. And he basically gave it away for conservation and nonprofits. So they have the highest score. Costco is number 2. And I would
Oh.
say everything I know about Costco, between how well they pay their employees
Yeah.
to the fact that the CEO refuses to raise the price of hot dogs.
You gotta respect that, right?
Just
You gotta give him some props.
And so I feel like I think companies that I know are known for treating their employees well, certainly I hold in higher regard. Number 3 is John Deere. Number 4 is Trader Joe's. You know
Oh.
what a fun fact that I learned about Trader Joe's? So
The
when I was
wine
in
is terrible?
No.
Okay. Just throwing it out there.
That's actually also not always true. They have won wine contests before, because basically all of the Trader Joe's wine is white labeled, and so it's changes all the time as far as it's batches of wine from different winemakers that they are is excess. So sometimes it's very good.
But it's a hit and miss kind of thing then.
It is a hit and miss kind of thing.
Yes.
But Trader Joe's, I met someone at a baby shower I went to in California who works for Trader Joe's, and she said the entire structure of the company is to basically give the people who work at the stores the most clout. It's a reverse structure of, because she works at a store, but she was talking about, probably one of the more desirable jobs at Trader Joe's, because that's another company. I mean, they white label. It's not just their wine, right? Like products, most of the fan favorites there. It's not like Trader Joe's is making that food. They're white labeling that food
Sure.
that a different food company is making
Is
and just
processing,
putting
yeah.
their. And so there's people who are like the tasters, and they get to travel all over the world and try the chocolates and try the snack of the peanut butter pretzels new rendition and all of these different things. But it's like a reverse incentive structure, as far as everything is structured at that company to make the people who are actually in the stores the happiest. Which I feel like is the exact opposite of how Kroger works.
Well, and the exact opposite of how many, many, many companies work. And what I find really interesting about that is that, and yet Trader Joe's is successful, and yet they make money, and yet they are profitable. So
Mhm.
you can actually treat your employees decently and still make some bank.
Well, and that's always the argument of Costco versus Walmart, right? Because on its face, I mean, one's a membership model, but largely they're similar. They like the same kind of stuff, the same kind of warehouse shopping, and one can actually pay a living wage and does pay a living wage and treats their employees well and is still very profitable,
Yeah.
and one does not.
Walmart employees have to be on food stamps, for heaven's sakes, and the Waltons are worth billions of dollars. It's
I
it's
know.
obscene. It's
But
obscene.
it's obscene. And so we're asking you, what brands do you inherently trust or have good vibes over? 844-967-2789. That's 844-96-PARTY. You can call us, you can text us, you can also leave a comment on the live stream if you're watching us on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. Josh Egan says, another vote for Subaru. We have owned 3.
Yay, Subies.
So interestingly enough, which brands would you imagine would have fallen in the last year?
Oh boy. Let's see. Well, that would be Budweiser.
That may be too recent to be
Too soon?
reflected in this.
Okay.
In this,
Can you give me a hint? What area are we talking about?
we're talking about one of which they've just had a reputation fall in general. One of which is a car company that has a pretty notorious owner.
Oh, it's a Tesla.
Yeah. So FTX and Tesla. FTX shouldn't surprise anyone, considering
that's the
the
crypto.
CEO founder of that is probably going to jail.
Is a thief. Okay.
But two companies that were once seen as shining examples of innovation and opportunity took the biggest reputational hits this year. And so basically, between the crypto collapse and Musk really
opening
really
his
opened
mouth.
himself up as much.
And yet he does not care.
Does not care.
Does not care.
But Twitter ranked 97th among the 100 brands of the survey respondents identified as most visible in the country today. Its reputational quotient, or RQ score, a measure across 7 dimensions touching on character, trust, trajectory, was 59 out of possible 100. But Tesla saw one of the biggest reputation drops of the past year. It went from 11th to 62nd.
Youch.
Yeah.
Keep talking, Elon.
And-
I'm sure the board of Tesla is just delighted.
And then similarly, social media companies overall have fallen from grace since 2018's Facebook Cambridge Analytica scandal. TikTok and Facebook parent Meta saw reputational losses. They now rank 94th and 96th.
Wow.
Which is low. I mean, I'm sure TikTok, it's not like TikTok's got a ton of good press as far as the fact that our Congress wants to ban it. But yeah, outdoor clothing retailer Patagonia took the #1 overall spot across 7 dimensions, earning an RQ of 83. And then the other one's Costco, Chick-fil-A, which kind of surprises me because I feel like Chick-fil-A is very divisive.
I would agree with you.
Like
there are people who love it and swear by it, and then others who may not necessarily like the political stance of the owners of Chick-fil-A.
Well, and that's one of the things that not that I'm a huge fast food fan. Like, I'm not someone who just craves fast food very often, every once in a while, certainly during the pregnancy. But I am so grateful that, because we didn't, like, in Wisconsin, there's Chick-fil-A's here now, but growing up there wasn't.
Oh, no.
And so I've never had Chick-fil-A. And so it becomes a lot easier to never want to go to Chick-fil-A, especially because I know what their politics are and how homophobic they are, when I've never had it. So there is no conflict, really.
And in my personal opinion, and you can disagree with me if you want, at 844-967-2789, that's 844-96-PARTY, it's a chicken sandwich with pickles. I don't understand the adoration for this chicken sandwich. I don't. I've had 2. My life is the same. Disappointingly.
Largely the same.
Pretty much. And I think there are better chicken sandwiches with pickles.
Where do you get your chicken sandwiches from?
Even McDonald's crispy chicken sandwich is pretty good.
Is better?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
So I'm a chicken sandwich snob.
That's fine. You're also a cookie snob, so.
Yes, that's true.
I feel like I need to bring in Fig Newtons for you, just be like, give it another try.
No.
You're not even going to try it?
No, but Fig Newtons are bad cookies. It's a cookie punishment.
But I feel like it's not actually, is it really identified as does it identify as a cookie?
What else would you call it?
A treat?
No, it's a punishment. No, there's nothing rewarding about a Fig Newton. Unless it's a different flavor than fig. Because didn't they used to make like ones with strawberries in them, and strawberry in them or something?
Probably.
That to me is more acceptable than fig. Anyway.
Anyways,
like detour here.
UPS is high up in the list.
Oh.
Which is interesting. But guess which company finished in last place overall for the second year in a row?
Wow, second year. Is it the Trump organization?
Yes!
Is it?
Yes!
Yay! Oh!
The Trump organization finished in last place overall for the second year in a row with an RQ of 52.9, even lower than the year before.
Wow, that is really something. Who would have imagined that the company that saw the airline fail and the stakes fail and the university fail and their charity had to be disbanded because they were stealing money from the charity, and yet people do not hold the Trump organization in high regard? I'm just stunned.
I know. Also interesting, vaccine makers and other brands associated with COVID faded in focus this year. More on Americans' minds: fast food, car makers, and brands addressing inflation, threats from Russia and China, and technology. So not even on the list as far as the top 100. So not even ranking as far as going up or down.
For the vaccine makers.
For the vaccine makers, yeah.
Well, and if any of them are listening, by the way, I'm still waiting to become magnetic. I'm really, really disappointed in that.
Really disappointed that you don't have that superpower yet.
Yes, I'm waiting.
But interesting, strong commitments to a particular issue or viewpoint burnished some companies' credentials. Top-ranked Patagonia has long put its commitment to conservation at the forefront of its business objectives. The company took its commitment to another level last year by transferring its ownership to 2 nonprofits structured to put all of the company's profits into conservation. And so basically something to watch. Partisan politics shaped this year's rankings. So did companies' ability to navigate scandal. So did number 77 is the Disney drama, and Heartland surge and rise in value shopping. So just thought that was pretty interesting. So if you have thoughts on what brands you trust, what brands you like, let us know. 844-967-2789. When we come back, more Brewers tickets to give away. We have the other pair. So if you are interested in going to the Brewers game at 6:40 p.m. on Thursday against the San Francisco Giants, give us a call, 844-967-2789, and we'll be right back.
I like to teach the world to sing with me. I like to buy the world and keep it company. That's the real thing. I like to teach the world to sing and I like to buy the world a coat and keep it company. It's the real thing. What the world wants today is the real thing. What the world wants today is the real thing. What the world wants today is the real thing. What the world wants.
Real Chili's been serving up mouth-watering goodness to the people of Milwaukee since 1931. Their famous secret award-winning chili recipe is the same as it was back then and a local treasure. From lunch to dinner to late-night breakfast, Real Chili has you covered. And now you can bring the Real Chili to your next party, tailgate, wedding, or office gathering with their unbeatable catering options. And don't forget about their Real Love Party Packs, perfect for small groups, and pick up from their 2 convenient locations, downtown Milwaukee and near Marquette University campus. Visit them at realchili.com. That's realchili.com.
Drive safely, Wisconsin. Highway workers are out on the road. Help them out. Slow down, stay focused, and eliminate distractions. Work zone safety. It's everyone's responsibility.
Sponsored by the Wisconsin DOT.
This is the story of a very special woman. Just a few knew about her superpowers. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Fear you may be missing out? We're always streaming on TuneIn and the Civic Media app. Enjoy listening live or catch up by finding the podcast at civicmedia.us or wherever you enjoy listening to your podcasts.
Here's your updated forecast on the Shaw. Lots of sunshine this afternoon with highs around 84. Southerly winds 5 to 10 miles an hour. Mainly clear skies again tonight. Lows dip down to about 52. High temperatures reach up to 59. Tomorrow, a mix of clouds and sun. Clear skies Thursday with highs around 61. 68 Friday. For Civic Media, I'm meteorologist Eric Height. Currently, it's 75 degrees.
Watch it.
Welcome back to As Goes Wisconsin. I am Kristen Bry. She is Jane Matnair, and we have Ben on the phone to weigh in on what his most trusted brand is. How you doing, Ben?
Hey, Ben.
Hi, Kristen. Hi, Jane. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing great. How are you doing?
Oh, pretty good. Enjoying the summer, But the one brand I got, actually 3 brands I really like. Wigwam socks out of Sheboygan.
Ooh.
They're great. They're great socks. I've been buying them for years. They last, a lot longer than most socks like you buy in the store. Price is a little higher though, but they're worth it because something that fits and comfortable. That's big, especially for me. I got really big feet, so hard to find that.
Yeah.
Red Wing shoes. I have to wear steel toes, so comfortable shoes is a big thing for me. That I got wide feet too, so bit of a pain. But the last,
yeah, so there's a lot of feet things going on.
It is a pain for me. I wear like a 14 triple E foot, so I have to get mine custom foot made. I can't go in a department store to look them. I got really wide feet.
Oh man, 14 and wide.
Yeah. So my last one is they're called PACT, PACT. It's online. I think it's like a hemp-based cotton for like t-shirts and undergarments and all that. And I like them. They, price is a little high though, but it's well worth it. They're comfortable. They're not using, regular cotton. So, that's the environmental friendly one I use.
Yeah. I think I've heard of PACT before.
Yeah. For a while I've been buying them. So they last long. So, this, you got to look at, like with my shoes and all, especially with my shoes, people are buying steel toes constantly from the retailers for, $160 a pop, and I'm buying mine at $200 something, but mine can last a couple of years before I have to buy a new one. And there's a shoe guy where I live who can repair them, or I can reorder them when they get to that point. And he has my foot on file, so I just go in there, see what design I want, and boom.
Very cool.
Very cool. Thanks for the call, Ben. Oh,
and Ben picked up those tickets too. So have a great time at the game, Ben.
Well, thank you.
Have
Thanks
fun.
a lot for
Take
calling.
a picture. Thanks, Ben.
844-967-2789, 844-96-PARTY, taking your calls about what companies you love, maybe what companies you don't love so much. Ron from Milwaukee. Hey, Ron, what's going on?
Hey, so this is a whole category of companies I would never do business with, and that's American companies who buy fish from foreign companies, mostly based in Asia, who can script immigrants who need a buck, and they lure them onto these big fishing trawlers that go out for 2 or 3 months, and they end up not making any money because they charge them room and board on the trawlers, and some of them get sick, and some of them never see their families again, or the ship never comes into port because it offloads to another ship. It's slave labor. And there are American companies that buy that stuff. Of course, it's really hard to make the connection. And the other one is American companies who use child labor.
Yeah,
that's just been on the news recently. Kids in slaughterhouses, on the slaughterhouse floor, working with sharp machinery and crazy stuff like that. And we can identify those. And why should anybody be doing business buying their meat? It just boggles the mind.
I completely agree.
Yeah,
I
really
agree with
appreciate
both
you
of
calling,
those as far as employment issues and being aware as far as, and it's hard to be aware sometimes of all that stuff. I actually found a creator on TikTok who basically will take a picture of a food aisle at a grocery store, and using his little like magic markers will fill in how many are made by the same company and how many of those companies have the private equity firms that own them, being BlackRock or Vanguard or some of these big monster companies. And like the one I watched last night was the cereal companies. And like you think you have choice, but basically everything is Kellogg and General Mills, and those are all have investors and the private equity that owns them. And just like knowing it's hard to kind of do the research to always understand where your food's coming from, what the companies are doing, what their labor practices are. And, you know, sometimes once you find that out, though, like Ron said, like, you're like, I can't support this anymore, especially with child labor.
Certainly. But again, and when we've talked about boycotting companies and companies where you won't shop, that requires a certain amount of financial security to be able to do that.
Certainly.
To pick and choose like that.
Certainly. And it's, I mean, it even takes just being having the wherewithal to be aware of those things, right?
Yeah. And getting educated about it. Sure.
Absolutely. And so, but super interesting as far as we've talked about this before, as far, you know, like whether it's politics, whether it's their practices, whether it's just their marketing and how the causes that they get behind. But it is interesting what you said about Bud Light. I saw a friend who works for Pabst and he's a sales guy for Pabst. And I saw him at a birthday party recently and I was like, oh, like, how's it going? And he was really busy.
Really busy.
Really busy. And I asked some of my friends who work at Miller, who, I mean, they're at like, the sales teams are like over 11% for like the year because all of the fallout from Bud Light and how much sales have gone up for the other light beers. And it's like, I thought it would blow over by now, but it's still like, you're not kidding when you said at the beginning of the last segment, as far as what's dropped the most. I would imagine by this time next year, there's a lot of people who are really taking this to heart and it's like a political statement now as far as what beer you drink.
And apparently the latest target now is Target.
Well, but Target's been progressive.
Yeah, but now they're all mad about Target.
I haven't heard. You'll have to tell me more about that later, but
Lauren Boebert is, yeah. So that tells you.
That tells you enough. Stop right there, Jane. Okay, stop right there.
I said it all.
All right. When we come back, we're going to talk to Dr. John Lucey, who is churning whey into plastic.
I'm so excited.
Me too. All right. Stick around. This is As Goes Wisconsin.
Team sitting in the stands. Come see what's brewing. The Milwaukee Brewers. Come catch the fever. The fever with brewing is for everyone. You'll be a believer in brewer fever when you feel the excitement of the big home run. Stomping your feet, clapping your hands. You're part of the team sitting in the stands. Come see what's brewing. Clapping your hands. You're part of the team sitting in the stands. Come see what's brewing. Clapping your hands. You're part of
North Shore Healthcare is hiring. As the largest provider of post-acute care in Wisconsin, they offer skilled nursing and assisted living services, as well as home health and hospice care through North Shore at Home. They're looking for compassionate individuals who want to make a difference in the lives of those they serve. If you're a CNA, licensed nurse, administrator, or business professional and want to grow your career, visit nshorehc.com/careers to find out why North Shore Healthcare is the right choice for you.
Missed your favorite show live on air? It's easy to find what you enjoy wherever you listen to podcasts, including Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. And we're always streaming on TuneIn and the Civic Media app.
You're listening to The Shaw, WAUK 540 AM Jackson, W266DR Waukesha, and always streaming on the Civic Media app.
This is the story.
This is CBS News on the Hour, presented by Indeed.com.
I'm Steve Kathan. AM radio gets new life in some new cars as Ford throws a decision into reverse Jeff Gilbert of affiliate WWJ Detroit.
Ford CEO Jim Farley tweeting that he made the decision after speaking with policy leaders about the importance of AM broadcast radio as part of the emergency alert system. Farley saying AM will be in all 2024 Ford and Lincoln vehicles. He made no commitment after that.
Now to Washington. CBS's Nicole D'Antonio has the latest information on that U-Haul truck that rammed a security gate near the White House.
The incident took place around 10 p.m. at a security barrier at Lafayette Square, which is about a block back from the White House fence. The U.S. citizen from Chesterfield, Missouri, is charged with assault with dangerous weapon, reckless operation of a motor vehicle, and threatening to kill, kidnap, inflict harm on a president, vice president, or family member.
The correspondent Stephen Portnoy has new information today on an American reporter held in Russia.
A judge in Moscow granted a request by Russia's security service to keep reporter Evan Gershkovich in pretrial detention for another 3 months. Here in Washington, the White House urged his immediate release. Gershkovich was arrested in March and charged with espionage. The Biden administration and the Wall Street Journal insist the reporter was working for the paper's readers, not the U.S. government.
Russia today says it repelled an attack in its territory that it initially blamed on Ukraine. Jim Moss of the BBC tells us
the Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov insists that Ukrainians are responsible, but he's now said they may be ethnic Russians. And that marks a major concession.
After a sweeping probe, the state attorney general in Illinois says investigators found that 451 Catholic clergy sexually abused nearly 2,000 children since 1950. That's far more than the 103 the church had named earlier. Citing mental health concerns, the nation's top doctor wants action to help young people, as we hear from CBS's Jim Krasula.
U.S. Surgeon General Dr. Vivek Murthy is warning there's not enough evidence to show that social media is safe for young people. He's calling on tech companies and parents to, quote, take immediate action to protect kids.
The NFL has tinkered again with the kickoff return in a nod to player safety. League owners voting for a one-year trial of an enhanced touchback rule that will give the receiving team the ball at its own 25-yard line with a fair catch of a kickoff anywhere behind that line. Wall Street, the Dow is down 53. This is CBS News.
Need to hire quality candidates fast? You need Indeed. Their powerful hiring platform helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all in one place. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Local radio for your community. Civic Media broadcasting across the state of Wisconsin.
For Civic Media, I'm Jane Matnair. Here's what you need to know. U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin and a bipartisan group of lawmakers have introduced the Farmers First Act of 2023, which expands access to mental health services for farming communities. The measure reauthorizes a nationwide program connecting farmers, ranchers, and agricultural workers with mental health assistance programs and resources. It also increases available funding for the network to $15 million per fiscal year through 2028. The suicide rate for farmers is 3.5 times higher than the general population. After 86 years, the final graduates of Cardinal Stritch University received their diplomas on Sunday. The school announced in April it was closing because of financial difficulties. Enrollment at the school dropped from 5,800 students in fall of 2010 to less than 1,500 in the fall of 2021. I'm Jane Matnair. This is Civic Media News.
Let Mike Ravello's Camera Center help you start your family photo album by turning your digital images into gorgeous 4x6-inch prints on 2 for Tuesday. Buy one print, get the second free, up to 100 prints. In-store only at 181st and Blue Mound.
The 4 most dreaded words. My computer is down. Oh boy, that bites. Remain sane. PC and Bat Together will fix the pain. Rated #1 PC doctor in Southeast Wisconsin. Great service, great rates, and fast service with no trip charge. Experts with PCs, laptops, network servers, protection, backups, and can even help you remotely. Click PCandBack.com or call us at 262-706-3235. That's 262-706-3235. Remain sane. We fix the pain.
Every family has one. The smother.
Holy! Why? Hi, Erica. This is my
tummy. The Goldbergs every weeknight.
Weeknights at 5 and 5:30 on My 24.
With a house full of women, it's every man for himself.
What is it about hanging bras in the bathroom like Christmas ornaments? If I don't hang my underwear in the bathroom, that would be terrifying.
Tim Allen is the last man standing.
Weeknights at 6 and 6:30 on My 24.
This is the story of a very special woman. Just a few knew about her superpowers. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now. An AARP.
Welcome to the No Sour Ha Ha Fun Time Power Hour.
You need some whoop 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 boing. You know?
Moving Wisconsin forward, one joke at a time. This is Kristen Bry with As Goes Wisconsin.
Yada, yada, yada.
Hello, Wisconsin!
So leave it to Wisconsin to try to find a way to use a cheese product to make eco-friendly plastic. But that is exactly what is happening at the Center for Dairy Research. They want to convert whey into chemicals that can be used to make plastics and other consumer products. And here to tell us more about that research and what that even goes into thinking that this is possible is Dr. John Lucey, who is the director of the University of Wisconsin-Madison's Center for Dairy Research. Welcome to the show, Dr. Lucey.
Very happy to be here. Thank you.
So this was quite the headline when I first read it of like, because every time I hear whey, all I can think of is Little Miss Muffet sat on her tuffet eating curds and whey. And so remind us what is whey?
So yes, if you go back to Little Miss Muffet, it was the curds were the cheesy part of it, and the whey was the liquid part of it. For a long time, we just thought it was water. But actually, there is some lactose or some sugar in it and a little bit of protein. Not a lot of protein, but a little bit of protein. And starting probably about in the 1970s and 1980s, people figured out how to filter out that whey protein and concentrate it and dry it. And now you can go into a lot of stores and you'll see big tubs and cans full of whey protein that people use for shakes and other kind of things. And people like it for bodybuilding or exercises or athletes and so on. But that leaves the remaining part is the water and the sugar, which is lactose primarily, and that's what we're targeting. Most people will take out the protein and use it for this whey protein powder products and sell that. That's actually turned into from nothing into a multi-billion-dollar business for the dairy industry of getting the protein out. But the problem is what to do with all the rest of the stuff.
Yeah. So when making cheese, how much is there left over? I mean, I guess in the first bulk of just the whey period, but then even with what you said with the lactose and the sugar and the water, like how much are we talking about as far as like volume that these cheesemakers are having to deal with to figure out what to do with?
Yeah. So about 90% of the volume ends up in the whey. Only about 10% of the mass of the milk will end up in cheese, because it's just the main solids part that ends up there. But 90% of it is going to end up as this liquid whey that's mostly water, as I say, a little bit of lactose and a little bit of protein. So that's a lot of volume. So if you round up numbers, and we here in Wisconsin produce 30 billion pounds, give or take, of milk a year. That's somewhere in the region of 27 billion pounds of liquid whey we produce every year. So the numbers are mind-boggling, The numbers are mind-boggling, yeah.
So we're practically drowning in whey.
Yes, we have a lot of whey. But the good thing about it is mostly water.
Yeah.
The vast majority of the things in it are water. So the question a plant is faced is, okay, this is mostly water, but what do I do with it? It's mostly water. What do I do? I could try and dry it and make a powder out of it so the water goes away, but that's an expensive business. You need a lot of heat and energy to dry all of that water And all you're making at the end of it is lactose, which is, unless you make very high-end lactose, which goes into like tablets and pharmaceutical uses, you might make money out of that. Most of the time, you won't make a lot of money out of that kind of thing. That kind of dried, what we call permeate, because we've taken off the protein. That stuff is usually used for animal feeding pigs and animals and things like that,
So I guess to get to the main reason we're bringing you on is, what was it about the compounds of whey and this leftover water and lactose that made you think, maybe we can turn this into plastic? Like, how are those two things correlated?
It seems very strange to you, but actually, as a chemist and as people here in campus, my partners and collaborators, we look at this as chemistry or microbiology problem. We don't look at it as kind of like a big issue. What I mean by that is that the lactose is a sugar, and in microbial worlds, it can be fermented. You think about fermenting products into beer or whiskey. Yep. There are actually plants here in the US and overseas that take cheese whey and use yeast to ferment it into alcohol. There are plants that are making whiskey out of this, because then they age that alcohol in the cast and the wood cast, etc. And there are people who made their plants make some of these sanitizer compounds because it's alcohol during the height of the coronavirus things. They said, oh my God,
yeah.
Everybody was short of getting sanitizers and waiting months for stuff and things. They said, well, it's alcohol, we can produce that. So that is one that has been done way into alcohol, has been done since the 1970s. So it's a fermentation. You're taking the sugar, the lactose, and you're making alcohol. Just like you would make beer alcohol or other kind of alcohol, you take sugar and you have a bug or a yeast or a bacteria to do it. So that is kind of, for us, is an example. What else could we ferment it into? Why does it have to be alcohol? Could it be something else? So that brought, researchers here on this campus that I work with and said, what about plastics? So we were talking about plastics as it's up here. 99, give or take, % of plastics today are made from fossil fuels.
Mm-hmm.
So, everybody's talking at the moment about, electrifying cars and getting rid of cars and no more gas and so on as a long-term kind of goal. But you'll still be left with the problem of how to replace fossil fuels for other things that it does. And one of the other core things it does is it makes chemicals for the industry. So the vast majority of chemicals that are used in our everyday life, from everything in our cars to in our houses, in our homes, our spoons, all of that stuff, and cups and plastics, they're all primarily made from fossil fuels. So when it goes into those big refineries that we talk about, and we focus, as a consumer, it's making gasoline to run cars. Yes.
Yeah.
But they're making a whole bunch of chemicals at the same time that go in to feed like the plastic industry and the chemical industry. So when we thought about that, we said, we need to find a way to make plastics or chemicals from renewable sources.
Mm-hmm.
We can't rely on fossil fuels indefinitely. How can we do that? And what bugs would we need to do it? How we would engineer the bugs to make what we want, basically. And then how would those processes work? So that's kind of, from chemists and from microbiologists here on campus, that's the kind of way we think about things. How can we make this work?
Our guest is Dr. John Lucey, who is the director of the University of Wisconsin-Madison's Center for Dairy Research, and talking about their efforts to turn whey into plastics, which I just think that's so cool.
And so what has progress looked like so far? Like, how have you successfully made adhesives or plastics or something, or like, where are you in the process of researching this?
So I want to give a shout out to a couple of my colleagues here on campus. So over in our bacteriology department, there's Erica Majunder, and she's taking actually acid whey, which is like when we eat Greek yogurt. We go to the store, we buy Greek yogurt. It's hugely popular now. For me as a food scientist, what the key step in making Greek yogurt rather than regular yogurt is they actually remove some of the water to make it higher in protein. We call it concentration. that produces another type of whey. We call it acid whey because it's a cultured product like a yogurt. It's a little bit different from the regular cheese whey. She has been using that whey, that acid whey, and generating it into polymers that are basically they're polyesters. So when you think about polyesters, they came about middle of last century, and those were the things that made nylons and tights and all kinds of other things in everyday use. But they came from the start of the chemical fossil fuel industry. But if we can start to make things that are like polyesters, now you're talking about polymers, you're talking about things that can build structures if you do them in different ways. And she's looking at those as a starting compounds to make bioplastics. She has engineered her bugs, and all we're doing right now with her and other studies is optimizing, improving, increasing the yields, and so on. There are other colleagues here on campus that are making pure lactic acid. So when we think about dairy fermentations making like yogurt, the actual bacteria already produce lactic acid. So it's not like they're asked to do something weird. There are actually a couple of forms of lactic acid. So we might ask them to make only one type, for example. We call it isomers, but basically one structure. That lactic acid can be stuck together into what we call polylactic acid, and it can make clear plastics. The thing we're going after here, and that's been done.
That's been done. Okay.
That's been done. The thing we're going after here is, can it compete with the existing processes? Because at some time, someone's going to make a money decision here.
Yeah.
I can buy this from a fossil fuel and it's cheaper than I can make it from this process. Then nobody's going to build the plants to start making this. So right now, a lot of the research work is, yes, you asked me, can it be done? The answer is a big yes, it can be done. The second question is probably more important is, can we do it in a way that's cost competitive to the existing processes?
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of the scientists are working right now is, can I improve it? Can I make them make more of it? Can I, get rid of things that they shouldn't do and so on? Where actually my group doesn't do any of those things. My group is more interested in the next step. The next step is after they do these fermentations, how do they get out the lactic acid from all the other stuff? Because there's bacteria in it, there's maybe some proteins, there's some salt. If we're to sell this and have a chemical company check out the fossil fuel stuff and say, tomorrow I'm going to buy a truckload of your bio-based chemical rather than the fossil fuel chemical, they'll need it to be exactly like it was before. They'll need it to be the same quality and purity. So my group is actively working on separating out and purifying it out, because if we can't do that, the whole thing will fall apart. It won't, we'll be able to do it, but it won't be competitive.
Absolutely. Well, this is absolutely fascinating, Dr. Lucey. I can't wait to see as it grows, and the genius behind it is awesome. So thank you so much for spending time with us today.
You're welcome.
All right. Have a great day.
Thank you.
When we come back, we'll have some more As Goes Wisconsin. Stick around.
You don't even have a hip, though. Oh,
this is breaking my heart. Just tell them what they want, yo.
You want to put us in your mouth, and you, don't you? We know you do. We know. You want to put us in your mouth, you. We know you do. We know. You want to put us in your mouth, you. We know you do.
We're all familiar with the 3 whats. What is it? What can it do for me? And what does it cost? At Country Financial, we can help you find the answers with insurance coverage to help protect what's most important to you, all at a price you can afford. So while you're juggling work and kids while trying to keep an eye on your future, we'll make sure we're one of the first ones there when you need us most. What should you do next? Call Matthew Holbrook, your Country Financial representative, at 414-332-2137 and chat about your insurance needs today. 414-332-2137.
Hey, this is Lindsay Kindert at 540 WAUK The Shaw. At Civic Media, we love our local communities and want to share your stories. Submit your local event and we'll let our listeners know. Email me, Lindsay Kindert, at info@civicmedia.us. That's info@civicmedia.us.
If you're grilling this weekend, be sure to have plenty of Village Hearth buns on hand. Fancy equipment and secret sauces are great, But once you've mastered the basics, it's all about the bun. Your perfectly grilled burgers and hot dogs deserve the best. And with several varieties to choose from, including unsliced old-fashioned, classic white or wheat, country potato, and mini sliders, the bakers of Village Hearth have the buns your family will love. Village Hearth buns, locally baked and delivered fresh daily.
You were supposed to get a colon cancer screening, but stuff came up.
We did have to pick up the twins from practice.
But on the way, we hit a giant pothole.
If you are 45 and older, don't let butt stuff get in the way of your screening. Visit the Colorectal Cancer Alliance at ccalliance.org.
Here's your updated forecast on the Shaw. Lots of sunshine this afternoon with highs around 84. Southerly winds 5 to 10 miles an hour. Mainly clear skies again tonight. Lows dip down to about 52. High temperatures reach up to 59. Tomorrow, a mix of clouds and sun. Clear skies Thursday with highs around 61. 68 Friday. For Civic Media, I'm meteorologist Eric Height. Currently, it's 75 degrees.
This is what I meant to eat. This is cheese. Look out, 'cause here I come. That cheese part will be empty when I'm done. All the food of the breed, I'll eat every kind I see. This is cheese.
Wow. Jane McNair, what cheese parody song have you found now?
It's called This Is Cheese. And it's This Is Me from Greatest Showman.
Yeah, oh no, I recognize the song. I just did the lyrics are new.
I found it this morning. I was so excited. It's like Dr. Lucey's gonna be here, and what could be better than songs about cheese?
That is I love that song. Actually, I saw a video last night of the original This Is Me from The Greatest Showman. Love that song. Still, if I lip sync hard enough, I will cry trying to perform that song.
It's very emotional. It is.
I saw an incredible, I think it was TikTok, of a drag queen. The drag queen's name, Meatball. Big, looks like a big, sizable person. And they dressed up as George Santos and performed this song. And by the end of the song, had ripped off the blazer and ripped off the sweater with the white collar shirt and his little uniform that he always wears.
Yes.
And ripped off his glasses. And underneath was wearing the exact replica of George Santos's drag queen costume. And just belting, well, lip syncing, but pretending to belt out, This Is Me. And I was like, oh God, is that genius?
That's
it was
hilarious.
So good.
That's great.
Yeah, because, he's just a lost soul trying to break out and find whoever he actually is, which none of us know.
He's done everything already. There's nothing left for him to do.
Oh, man, except go to jail.
Well, that might be coming.
Except go to prison.
We'll see what happens with that.
Anyways, so talking about cheese, as we're on the topic of cheese, have you gone to the Cheese Curd Festival up in Ellsworth?
Never.
I would.
It calls to me.
It looks awesome. So it's not close. It's like 4 hours away from us. But on June 23rd and 24th, Ellsworth, Wisconsin, 6,000 pounds of cheese curds. And there's 30 different craft beers, hard ciders, local wines, over 20 cheese curd food dishes, live music, tasting and samples. And there's also a classic car show. So this is coming up about exactly a month from today. But big shout out for the Ellsworth Cheese Curd Festival. They just got named number 10 out of the 10 best specialty food festivals in the U.S.
More good news for Wisconsin. This is great.
This is great. USA Today named it the 10 best specialty food festivals in the U.S. and it came in as number 10. So now even more reason to go next month.
Another thing on our road trip bucket list. I would love to be just to go cheese curd to cheese curd.
And do the taste test.
The taste test. Yeah.
See, for me, the cheese curd, it comes down, like the fried cheese curd, it comes down to the batter used for what it's fried in.
Okay.
I like the lighter, crunchier batter. And then when it comes to the fresh cheese curds, it's really just the squeakiness, right? Isn't that the criteria, like the official criteria for judges?
Does flavor play any role in any of this?
Certainly. Yes.
Because for me, it's more about what kind of cheese is in the middle of the cheese curd.
What is your preference?
It's got to be sharp cheddar.
Okay.
It can't be mozzarella because it's like it's too bland.
But then it's basically a mozzarella stick anyways. Isn't it?
Yeah. It's a rolled up mozzarella stick.
But also the other specialty food festivals that were on this list is Pizza City Fest in Chicago, Illinois, Carne Asada Fest in Dallas, Texas.
What does that involve? Is that all meat?
The Carne Asada Fest in Dallas started as a way to introduce a wider audience to authentic Latin food in an experimental manner. Carne Asada is marinated grilled beef, usually chuck steak, typically served in thin strips, sometimes as a filling for tacos or burritos. Come hungry and feast to the sound of live music.
That sounds delicious.
Vermont has a cheesemakers festival. Then the Italian Market Festival in Philadelphia. The Waikiki Spam Jam in Honolulu.
What a reason to go to Hawaii. Why not?
Let's go eat some spam. That's the best thing we can do in Hawaii is go to eat spam. I don't know what else we would do there.
My friend's husband loves spam. He is a spam connoisseur.
Is there different types of spam you can get?
Oh, yes. You can get all different kinds of flavored spam. In fact, one year for his birthday, I got him a sample platter of different spams.
Is it flavor? Because it's all the same meat, right?
But some are hotter. Some can be a little sweeter.
Huh.
Oh, yeah. There's far more spam. Everyone dumps on spam, but it's been around for a long time. And people who love it really love it.
I mean, I imagine if you eat any other kind of canned food, like canned tuna or canned chicken or any of those things, like what's the difference? As long as you don't mind your food coming out of a can and being preserved, who cares?
Hey, we grew up on spam.
Yeah, there you go. A Kauai Poke Fest. That seemed a little bit more my speed, if I'm going to be totally honest. That's also in Kauai, Hawaii.
Okay.
And then Maine Lobster Festival. I would go to that.
Yeah.
I've never been to Maine. I would love to go to Maine.
I would love to go to Maine also. Never been there. Not a lobster person myself, but I'm a big butter fan.
Big butter. Okay.
Big butter fan.
Number 2 is the Windy City Smokeout in Chicago, which is easy for us to get to. And number 1, Picklesburg. Picklesburg. That's what it's called in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Picklesburg bills itself as the destination for all things pickled. For one weekend each July, Pittsburgh's Roberto Clemente Bridge transforms into Picklesburg, complete with a giant flying Heinz pickle balloon. Attendees can expect an assortment of foods and cocktails that feature pickled ingredients, as well as live demos and pickle merchandise. There you go. All right, when we come back, what's our best curb find? This is As Goes Wisconsin. Curb find. This is As Goes Wisconsin. Curb find. This is As Goes Wisconsin.
Sometimes the truth hurts, but in a good way.
That's all you had to say.
This is The Shaw, 540 AM and 101.1 FM, WAUK.
CBS News Brief. A 19-year-old facing serious charges for crashing a U-Haul truck into security barriers near the White House. CBS's Anne-Marie Green reports.
Now, the motive for the crash remains under investigation. The Secret Service says the crash may have been intentional.
The driver apparently had a Nazi flag with him. Surgeon General Vivek Murthy is sounding the alarm on social media for kids. CBS's Jim Krasula.
He says young people's use of social media is what he calls near universal, but its true impact is not fully understood.
The White House and House Republicans are still trying to reach a deal on the debt ceiling. CBS's Nicole Killian is on Capitol Hill and says House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is watching the calendar.
He's going to continue to talk to President Biden. He has encouraged the negotiators to continue talking in the hopes that they can craft something. I mean, he said it is really critical that they try to get a deal this week in order to meet that timetable.
Congress has to pass something soon to avoid the nation's default. CBS News Brief. I'm Monica Ricks.
Continue the conversation online. Find and follow Civic Media on Facebook and on Twitter.
For Civic Media News, I'm Terry Bell. Here's what you need to know. The state Senate holds its first hearing on the shared revenue overhaul bill today. Lawmakers want to use 20% of the state sales tax income to send more money to local governments, but Republicans disagree on how to raise sales taxes in Milwaukee and Milwaukee County. A study shows the Brewers Stadium has had more than a $2.5 billion impact on Wisconsin's economy. That's why a coalition is working to convince lawmakers to budget millions for upkeep. The coalition's Tracy Johnson says that money ends up all over Wisconsin.
That benefits the entire state. So the activity might be right here in southeastern Wisconsin, but the benefit is felt statewide.
Johnson on Newsmakers on the Wisconsin Public Affairs Network. In sports, the Astros bullied the Brewers last night 12-2, same two teams tonight, and Green Bay will host the 2025 NFL Draft. I'm Terry Bell, and this is Civic Media News.
With one call, the Civic Media network of stations can deliver your business's message to the entire state of Wisconsin or your hometown. Marketing plans that work for your business. One call can do it all. Civic Media, 608-819-8255.
As a veteran of our country's armed services, you may be experiencing hardships, such as the inability to pay rent, utilities, or receive other life-sustaining services. And once again, you're called upon by family to serve and protect. We want you to know we are here to support you. The Veterans Rental Assistance Program was created by and for people living in Wisconsin, with benefit approvals being issued to veterans in just days, not months. It's not easy to ask for a hand up, but we are clear in our mission. No Wisconsin veteran should ever have to face homelessness or lose heat, power, or water again. Apply today by calling 833-WIS-VRAP. That's 833-947-8727. Visit VRAPWI.com.
This is the story of a very special woman. Just a few knew about her superpowers. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources.
Hi guys, this is me finding an $8,000 couch in the middle of the street. Here's a quick story time. It was pouring raining and I was walking home and I saw this couch in the middle of the street and I called my dad begging him to come pick it up because I couldn't just leave that couch there. He told me no, it was not possible. But then he surprised me and showed me that he did pick up the couch and he had it in his work office. But the couch was very dirty, so he said we had to clean it. So we got all the things we needed to clean it, some soap, water, a vacuum. And that's my sister using a little machine thing. And I was very interested in how that works because I think she was doing it wrong.
I just think that's the funniest part of that whole video.
She's like, well, I don't think she was using it right. But that is a video that is causing a lot of debate as far as picking things off the side of the street and taking them home. And whether or not that is, good, because sometimes those things have bed bugs.
Yes.
So this is a content creator named Amanda Joy who posted a video that she found for this couch, and it's a cute couch. It's it's interesting looking. It's bright blue. It's called like a bubble couch, but she found it. She lives in New York, if you couldn't tell from her accent, and she found this couch. It's called it's a Roche Boboy. I probably didn't pronounce that correctly. Bubble sofa, which retails for $8,000.
Wow.
Though some folks in her comment section thought it was a knockoff based on the fabric. So I don't know what the fabric the real ones get made off of are like, but if that is real, First of all, could you imagine just dumping an $8,000 couch just on the side of the street in New York? Because you're just like, well,
No.
I got to move, so I can't take it with me. So it's just, here you
I-
go.
Unless, as you said, it was infested.
Yes.
Then I could see dumping an $8,000 couch on the sidewalk. Because you don't know with stuff like that.
You don't know, especially because New York is, I think it's like the like ground zero. Like New York is one of the worst places when it comes to bed bugs.
Oh.
Here we go. New York City ranks second in U.S. cities on Orkin's top 50 bed bug cities list.
Oh, congratulations.
Of course, that's a thing.
Who's number one?
That is a good question. I'll probably have to look that up. But, you know, if it's not infested, good for her. But it just got me thinking as far as like, what is the best deal you ever gotten by either picking something, like you driving by and picking something off the side of the road that you were like, this is free, and someone was just trying to get rid of it. Like another man's trash is your treasure, or at a rummage sale or Goodwill. Like, what is the best deal you've ever gotten out of getting something that someone threw away, pretty much? 844-967-2789. That is 844-96-party. What is the best treasure you've made out of someone else's trash? Do you have anything that comes to mind, Jane?
I don't remember ever picking anything up off the curb. But, you know, in college and right out of college, my furniture was milk crates and boards and things like that. So it was pretty bare bones that way. I love rummage sales and I love, you know, secondhand stores and things like that. But I don't remember ever picking up something that hadn't been discarded, although we've gotten rid of things that way.
Oh, yeah?
We put a couple dressers out that just didn't fit anymore or were just taking up too much room. So, yeah, we've done that. And 2 days, boy, it's gone. Another good way, if you have things to get rid of that are in good shape, is Purple Heart. Purple Heart's wonderful. And they will actually come and pick it up for you and take it away for you, but it does have to be in decent shape and certainly not bed bug infested.
Yeah. Well, that's also how the Habitat Restore works as far as being able to donate good things here. And that, I mean, for them, talk about a story that someone donated something they may or may not have known they had. What was the art that they donated that then got auctioned off for $88,000?
They made it was a wonderful thing. And what was really great about that story is that they contacted the people who donated it to make sure that they knew, and then actually even offered them to take it back if they wanted. And they said, no, you keep it, you know, I'll get it auctioned off. And all that money's going to Habitat programs. It was really a wonderful thing.
And so I'm trying to think as far as the best deal I've gotten as far as something that was, you know, donated or, you know, discarded on the side of the street that we picked up or I picked up that I ended up using for a long time. Certainly one was a record player. So this is when I was living in New York and starting comedy stuff. And so one of the sketches we filmed and we made a series of them was a joke about Masterclass. So you know what Masterclass is?
I do.
So it's like it's now worth like $1 billion, whatever. But it's like Martin Scorsese teaches you how to make movies, or Serena Williams teaches you how to play tennis, which I still don't understand how that works because tennis is a very physical thing that feels like you need an actual coach in person, but whatever. But you know what I mean? So like all of these different, like Jeff Goldblum, actually that was the one we made a joke out of. So basically we had a bunch of friends who through where we took acting class and sketch comedy and stuff like that, people who were really good at impressions. And so we did a series of master classes with different people playing different characters like Jeff Goldblum and Bernadette Peters and all this stuff. And so we used, at the time I was moving out of my apartment. So we had like a blank apartment to use as the set because we were just making this sketch for free.
Sure.
And on the side of the road, we found like to use as a background, like academic looking set, a kind of wicker wood record player. And it turned out that it worked. Someone had just left
Cool.
it on the side of the road, and we ended up, I think we kept that until we moved. But like, it was a perfectly working record player, and it looked nice. And someone just was like, well, I don't need this anymore.
It
And
sounds really
so
unique too.
it was pretty unique. And so I'll find the maybe I'll put that in the show notes for the day. First I'll find the sketches themselves. And so you can also see the
set.
the record, the set and the record player that was in the background. But so that was something we picked up for free that ended up getting a fair amount of use. And I don't even think we had to replace the needle or anything.
Wow.
I think it was just working. And so but yeah, I thought it would be interesting as far as the different, I don't know, because people, I feel like when we leave stuff out of the, although Mike's pretty good. Mike will be like, oh, he'll post it and then someone will come and pick it up versus just
putting it out
leaving
there.
it out there. Because it is, you think about like, I think about this now with mattresses. Because like technically, legally, you can't sell your mattress anymore, right? So like, what do
No.
you do with mattresses now?
You have to take them to the dump.
That's it?
As far as I know, because as you said, you can't resell them. And unfortunately, at least in one neighborhood in Milwaukee within the last couple of years, this was a big problem. This woman lived on a dead-end street that had some undeveloped area across the street from her, and people were using that as the neighborhood dump and throwing mattresses and tires and all those kinds of things. And it wasn't until, I believe it was Channel 12 that investigated, that the city finally did something about it. Because and you might even have to pay in order to get rid of your mattress.
Which doesn't that just feel so wasteful?
It does.
As,
But there have to be health concerns, isn't that?
Oh, no, I understand. I understand that there's health concerns, but I mean, it feels like there should be something as far as, is there no way to clean them or like make sure, like to like check them and make sure like, yeah, this one's fine for reuse versus, oh, like we're moving and we don't want to move our big ass mattress from here to there. So like your only option becomes to just throw it out. And it's the same thing kind of with a couch, whether it's a $2,000 couch or an $8,000 couch. Like your only option is just kind of like leave things there and hope that someone else gets use out of it. But the mattress thing feels really wasteful to me.
Well, and you would also think that there must be some way to recycle some of those materials. I mean, there are metal springs in them, and maybe not the fabric so much, again, because of those potential health problems. But what about the springs? And what about other things that could be repurposed somehow?
Yeah. I have no idea, but I'm trying to think if there's other. We're asking you, if you're just joining us, on what is the best deal you've ever found, either by picking something off the side of the road or at a rummage sale or at a Goodwill or a Restore. I know Mike's always on the lookout for sports cards.
I was going to say cards. Sure.
As far as being able to see someone who didn't know what they had. And I think collectibles in general work like that, as far as being able to, you have the eye to know what you're looking for versus the person who's like, I don't know, I just need this out of my house ASAP.
Yeah. I mean, even some old costume jewelry from the 40s and 50s can be really valuable, but you have to know what you're looking for.
Like actual, like there'll be actual gems.
No,
when I think of,
but no, it's still costume jewelry, but the crystals were better quality crystals. The metals they used might have been better metals. And again, if you have the right eye for it and you know what you're looking for. I'm also curious what people have put out that they thought no one would take and they ended up taking it.
Oh, that's a good question.
844-967-2789, 844-96-PARTY. What did you leave outside that you needed to get rid of and you couldn't believe that someone actually scooped it up?
I'm trying to think of.
Because Wisconsinites, we're always looking for bargains, man.
Yeah. I will. What have we gotten rid of recently? We had a broken toilet that sat out there for a while. That did not get picked up very quickly.
Well, good. Good. At least we have some standards.
There's some standards. I'm like, oh no, we don't need that.
We're gonna pass on that. I'll pass on.
I'm trying to think. Mike gave away a cooler, like a really big cooler recently. But like I'm trying to think of like big ticket items of what did you get rid of and you just didn't even bother. I mean, it makes me think of the conversation we had a couple weeks back with the no buy economy
Mm-hmm.
and the different Facebook groups that have popped up as far as, kind of in lieu of throwing it out or just dumping it at a Goodwill, of being part of these Facebook groups where you can just be like, hey, does anybody need this? Or be watching for someone saying, does anybody have this? I certainly think I'm going to start using those because I found one that's in our neighborhood
Oh, did you?
for like baby stuff,
Oh, that's great.
right? Of just as far as like, does anyone, and like also just turning it around and giving it back. Actually, speaking of gifting, or I guess lending is more the term in this use. My good friend, because I've just been not wanting to buy clothes that fit for
you.
this kid, for me, for
you.
this baby, for this growing baby bump. And in general I get overwhelmed with shopping, and like I talk myself out of things that look like the quality's higher but it's more expensive, and it's like, do I really want to like justify spending more money on that, and I can just buy cheap. But then the Shein and the fast fashion and all, I just have a whole thing, which is why I usually take Adderall when not pregnant, because this is how my brain works. And I had a good friend, shout out to my good friend Emily Starr, who had a baby last August, and she lent me all of her maternity clothes.
Oh, that's awesome.
And even though she's about 7 inches shorter than me, it actually fits.
Not any pants, but I'm assuming tops.
No, and she didn't have that many pants, but it's a lot of dresses since she was pregnant over the summer too.
Sure.
And so dresses, some biker shorts, some t-shirts and stuff like that. So it saved me from having to go buy stuff. But it was funny because she gave me just the whole box of stuff to take home to try on. And I'm trying it on and I'm asking Mike like which of the dresses he likes and doesn't like and blah, blah, blah. He goes, man, Emily's a much better dresser than you.
Ouch.
Like, she has a much better fashion sense than you do, because all this stuff's really cute. I was like, I just don't like shopping. I have a good fashion sense. Maybe not. Maybe I don't. All right. All right. We got to take another break, but we would love to hear, what is the best deal you ever found on the street curb, on at Goodwill, at the rummage sale? 844-967-2789. That's 844-96-PARTY. We'll hear from you when we come back, and then we will wrap up today's show. This is As Goes Wisconsin.
Have fun on the lake this summer. Treat yourself and find the watercraft you want at Action Boathouse Showroom just south of 59 on 164 in Waukesha. Check out the fun and versatile Sea-Doo Switch with its powerful rotation engine. Action Boathouse Showroom also has a selection of luxury fishing boats or pontoon boats from 7 top USA manufacturers. The team at Action Boathouse Showroom is excited to help you launch into the sun this season and onto the lake. Action Boathouse Showroom, just north of 59 on 164 in Waukesha. The 4 most dreaded words. My computer is down. Oh boy, that bites. Remain sane. PC and Pat together will fix the pain. Rated #1 PC doctor in Southeast Wisconsin. Great service, great rates, and fast service with no trip charge. Experts with PCs, laptops, network servers, protection, backups, and can even help you remotely. Click PCandBack.com or call us at 262-706-3235. That's 262-706-3235. Remain sane. We fix the pain.
This is the story of a very special woman. Just a few knew about her superpowers. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Here's your updated forecast on the Shaw. Daytime highs approaching 84. This afternoon, under mainly sunny skies, winds out of the south 5 to 10 miles an hour. Mainly clear again tonight, lows dip down to about 52. Partly cloudy tomorrow, high temperatures reach up to 59. Highs around 61 Thursday, under sunny skies, 68 Friday. For Civic Media, I'm meteorologist.
As Goes Wisconsin, I am Kristen Bry. She is Jane Madnair, and we are wrapping up today's show. We have a comment on the Facebook live stream from Brady about our topic of what is the best deal that you found for something that was sitting on the side of the road or a rummage sale or at a Goodwill. And he says, I have too many to pick.
Excellent.
But what is it about us Midwesterners that we love to brag about how cheap or on sale we got something for? I just had an apartment warming party last night, and I was so excited to share the deal I got on my couch and my coffee table.
Bravo, Brady. You are a true Wisconsinite. Absolutely. We do that because it's a victory.
Is that what it is?
Yes, it's a win. It's a victory. I got this incredible thing and I got it for a deal. High five me. Yay.
You know, the other thing is also, I feel like how long you've had it. Like my dad, I think I get my not being a big shopper thing from my dad. My dad is not a big shopper.
Okay.
And
it was probably never fun for him. He's gigantic.
That as well. But most of the things he owns, from his t-shirts to polos to windbreakers to even sometimes shoes, are things he's gotten at like golf tournaments or fundraisers or something. So truly if you compliment him on it, he'll tell you that he got it for free, and he will also tell you how long ago he got it and how long it's lasted to really drive home the point of what a good deal it was.
We love that. And maybe Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, I think we have that same kind of attitude about yay me. I beat the system, right? I didn't pay full price. I got this great thing. And certainly this does not happen all over the rest of the country where they celebrate when you tell people you got something on sale.
Yeah, certainly there's other parts where if you get like a designer bag, you want people to think that you paid full price for it as the status symbol.
You wouldn't get a $5,000 Hermes bag and say you got it for $150?
Or say that's a knockoff.
But imagine if you did. See, and I would, if I found a ridiculously overpriced handbag like an Hermes, which costs thousands and thousands of dollars, and I got it for $150, I would never shut up bragging about that. Never. You would never shut me up. And I would go to New York. I would go to New York and just walk up and down the street and tell people I got this for $150. Applaud me.
My bag. Yeah, no, and it is interesting of how regional that is, as far as the pride in how cheap you can be versus the pride in how much you let yourself be gouged for something.
See, and it's not cheap is the wrong word. Thrifty. Clever. It's a good attribute. It's not because we're cheap, even though we are.
We're a little bit cheap.
Yeah.
Well, someone who is not worried about spending money, who, we'll send our congratulations to, is billionaire entrepreneur Jeffrey Bezos is reportedly engaged to his girlfriend of 5 years.
Oh.
The Emmy Award-winning journalist, Lauren Sanchez.
She's a pilot, too.
She's a pilot. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I did not know that she was. I knew what she looked like. I did not know that she was a journalist and a TV personality. And I actually looked up more about her background this morning, but it's said that he has popped the question in Cannes, France. I'm sure they were there for the Cannes Film Festival, which has been happening.
Naturellement.
On his brand new $500 million super yacht named
a $500 million boat.
$500 million with a B dollar super yacht. Not a regular yacht, a super yacht. And it's named Koru. So, two things you should know about Koru. It has a mermaid on its brow that resembles Lauren Sanchez.
Yeah, they have the same implants.
And it's accompanied by a butler yacht.
There's a what?
A butler yacht, which is a 246-foot vessel called Abania, I guess. Abania. So it's like there's the big yacht and then there's the baby yacht, although the baby yacht sounds like a big ass yacht anyways.
And so who stays on the baby yacht? Is it all the little people?
I don't think it's people. The people don't stay on the baby yacht. The Abania, I'm probably not pronouncing that right, carries toys like seaplanes, personal submarines, and sometimes helicopters.
Well, as one does.
So clearly it is a baby yacht or butler yacht that is big enough and strong enough to have a helicopter, not just land on it, but I guess be stored on it. And so yeah, and I just have to throw it back to our story yesterday. White Gladys, have at it. the orcas.
Oh.
Have the orcas. See if the orcas can sink that thing.
Well, see, and the orcas are going for sailboats. Now we have to try and direct them to a different type of sailing vessel.
I mean, if they really all worked together, as it seems like they are, right? They're teaching each other how to attack these boats. Maybe that's the script that we need to get written. Is the troop of orcas that take down some bald multi-billionaire's super yacht. I would pay money to see that movie in the theater.
And isn't it, for people like us, I'm assuming, every yacht would kind of be super.
Totally.
I think it's interesting that you have to label that mine is really super.
Well, there's categories. You have to have categories.
Apparently so.
All right.
He's not gonna brag about getting things on sale. That's for sure.
No. Who knows? He might brag about getting a company on sale.
Oh, there's that.
I got a great deal on this little company that I just gobbled up because I'm Amazon. All right. Well, on that note, that will do it for us today. Thank you for texting. Thank you for calling. Thank you for always being a part of the show. We appreciate you. And we'll be back tomorrow. Greg Bach will be here. And we'll have a super fun day for our hump day. But this has been As Goes Wisconsin. We'll see you tomorrow.